Mike Craig Ford, the Gilmer Mirror, Lee Tillman Fence and Construction, and the logo all in Gilmer. I'm Elwin Henderson, along with Russ Green and Troy Holden, coming to you from Homer Bryce Stadium in Nacogdoches today, home of the Stephen F. Austin Lumberjacks. And, of course, today the big game, the Region 2 Division 2 championship between the 13-0 Gilmer Buckeyes and the 12-1 Tatum Eagles. Tatum, of course, losing one game, that to Palestine, who was ousted by the Cuero Gobblers last night. And the game went into overtime, actually. And I believe, Russ, you said that Tatum actually had an 11-point lead in that game.
That's what I read, yeah.
Yeah, and just fumbled it away, or Palestine came back, tied it up. It went into overtime, and I believe you said 27-24?
Right.
Was the final. Was that game in Palestine or Tatum?
Don't know.
I want to thank Palestine. Nonetheless, that's the only setback the Tatum Eagles have had. A lot of you recall this will, so to speak, be a rematch of last year's third-round game, as it was the Buckeyes and the Eagles. Gilmer jumped out to what we thought was a fairly comfortable lead, and then through some, to put it mildly, some rather strange turns of events, the Buckeyes ended up winning the game 35-27. And I know some Buckeye fans heard this, Russ. I was mentioning to you and Troy and Kathy on the way down today. Stephen Hodge played in Summer Basketball League, and when they played Gilmer, when the Tatum Eagle Summer Basketball team played Gilmer, Coach Traylor said at the pep rally last night on the square following Yule Fest and the annual Christmas parade that Stephen Hodge came up and was talking to the Buckeyes, saying something to the fact of, well, you know, I really hate it. We're all going to be seniors in Tatum. You guys are losing 28 seniors. We wanted a rematch. Gilmer's not even going to make the playoffs. And I think that tended to help fire the Buckeyes up way back then. But obviously, Stephen Hodge gave the Gilmer Buckeyes no respect. And I will assure you, Russ, that Coach Jeff Traylor, being the motivator that he is, without a doubt, Coach Jeff Traylor has talked to his troops all week long about Stephen Hodge said we weren't even going to make the playoffs. Now, are we going to let somebody that makes that kind of comment beat us? And I'm sure that's been the drumbeat, if you will, this week at the Fieldhouse in Gilmer.
Well, there's only one quarterback I remember who was able to back up his smack talk like that, and that was Joe Namath of the New York Jets back when he won the first AFL Super Bowl way back in the 60s. But Hodge last week was pretty well effectively shut down by Wilmer Hutchins and only had 56 yards passing, ran for 90 yards on 25 carries. Hodge has some other weapons with him, though. Tailback Lennon Creer is only a sophomore, and he got 1,169 yards so far and 7 touchdowns. And there's another kid named McCoy. I'm not sure if this is the McCoy that's hurt.
Yeah, I believe it is.
Okay, he has 740 yards.
Yeah, he is a running back for him, starting running back as well.
We think he won't play today, but we have no idea really till the game begins. But Tatum has a couple more weapons offensively than they did this time last year.
Well, talking about the situation with Tatum, in case you haven't heard, McCoy is their all-state linebacker. He was hurt right before halftime last week in the Tatum game in Tyler against Wilmer Hutchins, and actually had a compound fracture of the thumb. And the word we've gotten, and from several very reliable sources, was that it was one of those that was broken so badly the bone protruded out of the skin. He had surgery on Saturday. We understand at least a couple of pins, maybe a screw, and possibly even a plate in that thumb. So you would assume that he will not start. I will tell you right now, we attempted 3 times this week to get a starting lineup from Coach Evans down in Tatum. Never got one. And my guess is, Russ, Coach Evans just doesn't feel comfortable about lying to us and giving us an incorrect lineup, but at the same time didn't want anybody in Gilmer to know the changes he was making.
Well, Hodge also has a couple of receivers who have been standouts. Split end Matt Hale has the team leading 33 receptions, 522 yards and 6 touchdowns, and also Sheldon Stoker has 17 catches, 252 yards and 5 touchdowns. But actually, Manuel Johnson has had a better year at quarterback statistically than Hodge has, and nobody would have predicted that before the season started.
Oh, absolutely not, considering Hodge is finishing up his third season at the helm for Tatum, and Manuel his literally first season at the helm for the Buckeyes as far as varsity-wise. The interesting thing about this, Of course, we do have no starting lineup for Tatum. I doubt that we will be able to get one. We'll just see who lines up out there when the game gets started. But I do want to mention that what I heard last night from, again, some very reliable sources before and during the pep rally, and here is the bottom line on it. Supposedly, Stephen Hodge, the quarterback, had to go in and play defense after McCoy got hurt in the second half last week. The rumor circulating, and again, this is all rumor, we'll know when the game starts, but it makes sense, is that probably the free safety of the Tatum Eagles will be moved up into McCoy's linebacking spot, and Hodge would play safety. Again, Hodge strained knee ligaments last week, and I understand he's also got a slight ankle injury, slight sprained ankle. And supposedly the first doctor he went to this week, and this is not all propaganda, folks, this has all been verified, and I did check with a member of the Buckeye coaching staff in regard to this. Hodge was told he should not play for 4 weeks, and yet he did not miss a single day of practice. You know, his senior season, figuring, oh, well, if the knee is damaged, I can't damage it anymore. If I'm going to have surgery, I'm going to have surgery anyway. I'll just put a brace on it and I'll roll. But you got to feel like, Russ, the way that black flag defense hits. Now, granted, last year we had a hard time containing Hodge, but I think you and I both feel, and I think just about everybody in Gilmer feels, no bad comments intended toward last year's black flag defense, but this year's black flag defense has just excelled and is a much better defense than what we had last year. And personally, if they can contain the speedsters that Dallas Madison had, I think they can control Hodge.
Yeah, I think Wilmer Hutchins showed that the key to shutting him down is to match his speed with your own speed. And Gilmer's defense, certainly we know, has the speed to contain even a team as fast as Tatum. You got the defense. Gilmer defense is number 1 in Class 3A. Tatum is thought to be, I mean, some statistics reveal them to be number 2, but Gilmer has given up an average of only 9.23 points a game through 13 games, and Tatum is giving up 10.53. So these two teams together both have fine defenses.
Yeah, they absolutely do, and certainly, again, we are a biased Gilmer broadcast. We're not trying to be any network broadcast and be unbiased in this thing. Quite frankly, during the week, I read a lot of Smoky.com threads, more so than normal because I was working in my office this week preparing 2005 budgets for my marketing reps for next year. So I got to spend a little bit more time on the internet than I normally would during the week if I was out working with some of my guys throughout my area. And I was absolutely infuriated by the accusations of some of these, I assume, maybe even kids still in high school at Tatum, but I'm not sure all of them were. But their insinuation that Gilmer hadn't played anybody. You know, I don't really think that their district was a state powerhouse overall. Sure, Spring Hill was good. Palestine was good. They both went pretty deep in the playoffs. There's no doubt the Buckeyes had the weaker district of the two. But if you really look at it, Tatum really only played 3 or 4 really, really tough schools the entire season. And, of course, they lost to Palestine, as we've already indicated. They did beat Spring Hill, but it was not a drumming of Spring Hill. That was a good football game, 21-14 if I recall. And, you know, Tatum really hasn't had a lot of blowout wins. They did not beat Lindale by near the score the Buckeyes did. You know, a lot of different comparisons here. But when it comes to the playoffs, there's no doubt in my mind that the Gilmer schedule throughout the season has been as tough, if not tougher. And, you know, I just really got frustrated to see Tatum saying Gilmer hadn't played anybody and they were going to throttle us. I mean, I saw people on there predicting as big a victory by Tatum as Atlanta beat the Buckeyes in this game last year by. I just don't see it happening. I do believe Jerry had the Buckeyes as a 3-point favorite, and I thought that was probably a pretty good pick. But then when we found out about McCoy and that it's very possible he wouldn't play, I said that bumps it up probably to 7 points. Then I found out about the injury to Hodge and the fact that it's going to be tough for him, no matter how mentally tough he is, to be able to survive an entire game. I really believe the Buckeyes win this game by 10 points or more. And I'm not getting overconfident like we all were when we went down to play Atlanta last year. I don't think any of us expected to lose to Atlanta. We didn't realize how potent they were with all the changes that Scharnberg had made in that backfield. But again, Tatum doesn't have that. I'm not going to say they're a one-dimensional team. They're not. But the Tatum Eagles are not the caliber speed-wise. You get past Hodge, he really is the focus of that team. And as Hodge goes, so go the Tatum Eagles.
Well, Wilmer Hutchins had that game won last week without the turnovers. And just like last night, Palestine had the game won against Cuero from everything I've read about it. Cuero has been the number 1 or 2 ranked team all year long, but
Yep.
Palestine outgained them by about 120 yards in total offense, but Palestine had 5 turnovers.
Yeah, you can't do that.
And that's what it all comes down to, Eric, playing mistake-free ball at this time in the playoffs. And these two teams wouldn't be this far if they hadn't done that on a regular basis all year anyway.
Well, that is true. Now, of course, the argument is always turnovers will beat you. The Buckeyes had their share against Dallas Madison last week, but again, the offense is so potent and the defense is so potent, they are able, probably, Russ, to overcome that better than almost any other team I've ever seen in high school. Normally, you get 3 turnovers in a playoff game, you're beat no matter how good you are. And the Buckeyes had 3 turnovers last week, and they win by 24 points. I mean, that just shows you how extremely talented this team is.
But they capitalized on their own turnover
Sure
there
they
at
did.
the first with McKnight's interception after Hollis had deflected, and they immediately converted that into points. And let's remember, they held Madison. Madison got a lot of cheap yardage in the second half, but they held Madison only 35 yards on the ground.
Yeah.
And that was led by
unbelievable.
Daniel Dodd, has 150 tackles this year. He just keeps going and going. Chaz Kuakai, he's right behind him, 134 tackles, 5 forced fumbles. Hollis, 76 tackles. Jake Holiday, 76. So, you know, the Black Flag defense, you struggle to I know Tatum's coaches are struggling this week to find a weakness in it.
Yeah.
There is no weakness in it.
No, I totally agree, and I still say if we play 4 full quarters offensively and defensively both, it's scary to think about how many points this team could score. Of course, in a good way. Well, let me take a moment, and there are the Buckeye players walking onto the turf here for the first time since arriving. Tatum's been here about 30, 45 minutes, but the Buckeye players waving to their fans. And for those of you who didn't make it up to Yule Fest last night in the pep rally afterward, those guys are absolutely adored. They were signing programs from last week's game against Dallas Madison for the fans, handing them out. And I'm sure most of you, well, you'll see around town the signs that say Buckeyes rule, edge the Eagles. There's a tremendous amount of support for this team. Not that we haven't had that in the past, Russ, the past few seasons, but I think the fact that everybody in town really realizes what a special group this is, they have far and above exceeded what any of us thought. And I told you I was going to say this. Russ and I generally agree on almost everything, whether it be political, theological, or football theory. Well, Russ, I told you last week we'd have to talk about this. You, on July 18th, you sent me an email showing the 3A predictions for the playoffs, predicting the Gilmer Buckeyes would make it to the 4th round, as they have, but that they would face the Atlanta Rabbits again, which, of course, they are not, because Atlanta went 3-7 and didn't even make the playoffs this year, and that Gilmer once again would lose to Atlanta. And your comment said something about, frankly, I don't think either one of these teams will make it that far. I agreed with you. I told Coach Traylor what the pick was, and he said, I hope they're right, but I don't know what world they're living in, or something to that effect. That may not have been exact words, but it was similar to that. So the bottom line, not even the Buckeye coaching staff anticipated this team coming together the way they have. It is, regardless of what happens today, or if we make it to next week, or the state championship if we make it there, regardless of what happens, this team reminds me in so many ways of the 1981 Gilmer Buckeye team, which is the only Gilmer team to ever go to the state championship. You looked at those guys on paper, and they shouldn't have been able to have done half of what they did. Unlike the 1981 team, this team scores tons of points, wins by a large margin. That team in 1981 won the game against Quitman that sent them into the district championship 6-2 after being down 2-0 at Buckeye Stadium on an absolutely flooding night. And after the Buckeyes kicked off, after the safety, there was, if I recall, only about 3 or 4 minutes left in the game. Chuck Wagner, the quarterback of the team that year, and Coach Tommy Wagner's son, asked his dad to let him kick onside. And Coach Wagner didn't want to do it at first. And as I recall, Chuck convinced his dad, Coach, we can recover this kick. Well, Coach Wagner reluctantly agreed to let him try it, feeling like that Quitman might hold the ball the rest of the game. The Buckeyes kicked onside, Russ. They recovered the onside kick. They drove in and scored with just, as I recall, barely over a minute or just under a minute left and won 6-2. They actually tied another district game. I believe it was against White House when White House was in our district that year, 6-6. So the Buckeyes that year over-excelled defensively, but didn't have near the potency offensively that this team's got. And I think there can be a lot of comparisons made, but regardless, at the end of the season, whenever it comes, Buckeye fans are going to have to say this was one incredibly special team.
Well, Manuel Johnson really stepped it up to a level at quarterback that we really didn't anticipate.
Yes.
There was, I guess, we should have seen it coming that he would be the quarterback because Kevin Hollis had decided he wanted to concentrate on defense because
Right.
that's where he's going to play in college. But 33 touchdown passes through 13 games, 2,928 yards, 215 of 324. He's also rushed for 840 yards on 118 carries and 13 touchdowns. That's why I say he's clearly had a banner year statistically, even compared to Hodge. And but no one could have predicted this, I guess, except Manuel himself, because he's, I'm sure, a very confident individual. Yes. He shows that every time he steps on the field. But it's been a total team effort too, though, because without that offensive line coming together the way it did, and nobody really expected that to happen either after losing people like, speaking of SFA, Big Fred Walker, who anchored that line, and he's been a red shirt down here at this same SFA program this season. And Brandon Williams left, Jared Boyum, and I'm missing Drew Marshall. And they lost all four of those guys, and you thought we just decimated, and we may be good on defense. I didn't know anything about the defense, and obviously they've been shockingly good.
Yes.
But the offense was a real question mark in my mind. But,
I think it was in everybody's.
They've been just explosive.
Well, talking about the offensive line coming together, I recall late in the summer talking to Coach Jeff Traylor, and I said, well, what do you honestly think? And he said, I'm scared to death about our offense. And I said, really? And he said, yes. He said, honestly, he said, the reason I'm scared, Kurt is just climbing the walls because we have no offensive linemen. And he said, we're actually going to look at a couple of freshmen. And I looked at him and I said, you don't even like to start sophomores on the varsity. And he said, he looked at me and he said, we're desperate, or some words to that effect. And just stop and look at the job that David Snow and Cody Lee have done coming up as freshmen. Who would have thought they could have matured as fast as they'd have to mature? And then, of course, they've got great size, both of them. But, the probabilities of any of this happening is almost incomprehensible. The odds would have been so great, I doubt even if it was legal, you could find anybody in Las Vegas that would have put odds on it.
And I think Logan Bishop deserves a special mention as the center. The center is so important in that shotgun offense. I mean, everyone notices when the center messes up.
Oh, yeah.
And we saw in one game where Logan Bishop missed the game because of an injury, how much we missed Logan Bishop.
Absolutely.
Not to take anything away from anybody trying to replace him, but Logan Bishop has really come up big this year as center.
Yes, he has. Well, you and I both know, no matter how much you practice, you can't just walk on and become a varsity center because you're going to take the blows literally on every offensive snap. And one little mistake, and you got a turnover. That, to me, would be even more pressure than being the quarterback. I mean, it's a scary spot to be in. You mentioned Big Fred Walker. Looking at the way Stephen F. Austin performed this year, they probably shouldn't have redshirted him. He could have certainly helped them. Stephen F. Austin was in the top 10 in rankings in Division I AA for the early part of the preseason. They were expected to do an awful lot. And
so that's why the coach was just dismissed.
Yeah, I was going to say, they bombed, and Coach Santiago here is gone. Unfortunately, he didn't get to enjoy this new beautiful turf they've got down here.
Yeah, and the turf was provided by a $225,000 donation from an anonymous former SFA football player who's obviously made it big somewhere, and it was installed over the summer.
Well, all I can say is if this nice a field is only $225,000, we got to figure out a way to get it in Gilmer.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought that must only be a partial payment from what I've been reading what this stuff costs, but this was called Momentum brand. There's a new brand coming along all the time. But did you also hear, I didn't mention this to you, Tatum has now gone ahead with plans to put in their own field turf next between sometime this season.
Yeah, I noticed that it would be ready before next season. So, folks, last year I was on this crusade to make sure we got enough money to coach Jeff Traylor that we didn't lose him, and we survived that one. So my new crusade is we're going to have to start donations for Momentum Turf at Buckeye Stadium. If Tatum's got it, we got to get it.
Well, Tatum may not have that brand. It's just that's the brand here. I don't know if Tatum
Well, that's true. With all that lignite coal, there's no telling what they may have down there. They got the money, but we have got to find a way to get it. We just have too great a football team, too nice a facility overall to play in to not have it. And, of course, that would bring a whole lot more money. Of course, with everybody getting that turf now in East Texas, there's going to be big competition anyway. But, man, we just got to have that artificial grass. Well, let me also, and I failed to mention this at the outset, remind everyone, there's a lot of folks without whose help we could not make this happen, and we would like to thank Gilmer School Superintendent Mr. Rick Albritton, Gilmer High School Principal Mr. Gary Whitwell, and Gilmer Buckeye Head Football Coach and Athletic Director Jeff Traylor for their help in making these broadcasts possible. And, of course, we'd also like to thank Mr. David Mooney and his wife Robbie and all the staff at Gilmer Cable TV. We encourage you to let all these fine folks you know, and you do know them all, that you appreciate their participation in this presentation, because without the sponsors and without Dave and Robbie Mooney's willingness, I assure you they're not making money on this situation by the time all expenses are paid. It's probably not even a break-even situation for Dave Mooney, but he is a strong supporter of the city of Gilmer, Gilmer Athletics, and we really appreciate his support all through the years we've been doing this and all of the help he's provided us. And I guess at this point, about the only other thing to mention is the Buckeye fans, about 150 to 200 strong, that were already here when we got here at 11:15. Folks, they were in the stands, some of them, 3 hours and 15 minutes before kickoff. Now that is loyalty to the Buckeyes. And that is one of the reasons this team is performing the way they are, because they know they have solid support of the town, and they do not want to let this town down, because obviously everybody thought the Buckeyes were going to win state last year. And obviously they would have, Russ, had they not run into that buzzsaw called the Atlanta Rabbits. But I think everybody feels we've got a second chance, and we got to make good while we're here.
It's the first day game we've played also since Paris back on middle of September. And fortunately, the weather conditions are a lot better. They're just ideal. As the high this afternoon is going to be around 67 in Nacogdoches, I noticed. And they've taken the rain out of the forecast. It looked like it might start raining right after noon, just in time for this game. But it's going to be a dry field. It's going to be a fast field, and the temperatures are going to be just perfect. And very little wind also. Absolutely.
The wind is almost totally calm. Looking over at the south end of the field and the flags, and Troy is positioning over there now, you can just barely see a light flap every once in a while to the flag. I think they're saying maybe 5 to 8 miles per hour by game time. Well, we're going to take a quick break. Obviously, as you can tell, we opened up a good little bit earlier than normal to get the pregame hype out of the way. That, along with the fact I had just gone as long as I could without talking about the Buckeyes. But we're officially right now, according to my watch, 1 hour and 57 minutes from kickoff. Stay with us. We'll be back with the on-field pregame interview with Coach Jeff Traylor, and hopefully Coach Evans from Tatum will talk with us as well. Stay with us. That'll be coming up shortly. Great. We're joined now by Gilmer Buckeye head football coach and athletic director Jeff Traylor. And, Coach, you just asked me as we came on how it was in that press box. I told Matt Camp, I wish we could just pack this press box up and take it with us from now on. It's a fantastic view and fantastic facility.
Well, I thought everybody would be excited about playing here. I mean, it was Tatum's idea, but in order for me to get it a Saturday game, I had to agree to come here, and I didn't want to risk the flip of having to make our kids play on Friday and lose a day. So I knew our crowd would drive anywhere, so I'm glad everybody likes it.
Well, I understand that we had something like maybe 10,000 tickets sold in Gilmer this week. Is there any truth to that?
I don't know. We didn't sell 10,000, but we sold more than we ever have before. I don't know what that number is, but it's the most since I've been here, and I assume those are the highest totals in the history of the school. So, yeah, we've sold the most tickets we've ever sold. It's not for sure, but I would imagine.
Yeah. Well, we talked about it at the opening of the broadcast, and I know you and I have discussed it before. And I told Russ I was going to have to not rub it in on him because he and I agreed. On July 18th, I had an email from Russ showing that the picks for Texas high school football showed the Buckeyes making it to the 4th round against the Atlanta Rabbits, the Buckeyes losing again. And I remember telling you, Russ sent me that. He said he didn't think either team personally would go that far. I didn't either, and I know at that point in time you had no idea this team was going to come together this well.
It's impossible for anybody to say they did. I mean, there's only 4 kids out there that played last year. The other 18 have just emerged. They might have played here and there, but they didn't play. They weren't the ones that played all the time. You never know. From when I've been here, our first year in the playoffs, we lost 3 tailbacks. We had no tailbacks going to the game. Our second year, we fumble on a quarterback draw, and they pick it up and run 96 yards. Everybody needs to stop and enjoy it, and myself included, because it's impossible to expect this is going to be the norm. I would hope. I'll take it every year, but if that were the case, I mean, it would just be, you wouldn't appreciate it near like we do. That's why we're so in awe of it. You don't do it very often, so we're very flattered to be back.
Well, of course, I know you probably have talked to your team all week long about the fact that most of the people didn't realize the talent Atlanta had last year. Most of the people thought Gilmer was going to win that game, just as everybody really knowledgeable folks feel that Gilmer should win this game. But I'm sure you have cautioned your team all week long not to be overconfident about this ball game.
None of that stuff. That's for you guys. That's what you guys have fun doing, and I would too if I was in the stands. But it all comes down to the field, and you never know. If you played a series 4 out of 7, like in basketball, you might get the best team. When you play one game, best team doesn't win always. That's why they have a series in baseball and basketball. Football is too painful of a game to play 4 out of 7, so you just can't. Which also is what makes football so exciting, because you know you either advance or go home, and that's a feeling like no other.
Well, I know you mentioned this at the pep rally last night after the Christmas parade at Yule Fest on the square. Has there been any discussion in the locker room this week about the fact of Stephen Hodge saying, I hate that we're not going to get to play you next year because you're not going to be in the playoffs?
There's been a little bit, but Stephen's a very good kid, and he's very sure of himself. So, he's 18, and I'm 36, and sometimes I say things I wish I wouldn't have said, and I'm sure we all have done that. And Stephen's going to get his wish today. He got to play Gilmer again, and I just hope it doesn't turn out the way Stephen wants it to. I hope it turns out the way I want it to, and the Buckeye fans.
Well, I attempted 3 times to get the starting lineup from Coach Evans. To no one's surprise, I never got it. I really didn't expect to. Obviously, he's trying to hold it close to the vest as to whether or not McCoy plays. I think the general rule of thumb thinking is he won't, that probably the strong safety will move up to his linebacker spot, and probably Stephen Hodge will drop back to strong safety. But I'm sure your plans include McCoy being in there.
Well, that's a tough one to deal for because, I don't know what they're going to do today. If you plan for McCoy, you can plan for what they've been doing. If you plan without McCoy, what are you planning for? Yeah. It's like last year when we lost Daniel. I know this. Nobody felt too sorry for me when Daniel Dodd didn't play in the quarterfinals last year, and I don't expect to hear much sympathy for Tatum if their linebacker doesn't play today. I won't give it to him, I promise you.
I'm sure you won't. Well, obviously, we thought early on it was going to be as nice a day as we've got. Then the forecast said rain by noon, 50% chance by mid-afternoon. All of a sudden, we get up this morning and the forecast says no rain here until after 6 o'clock. So all in all, you've got to be very pleased that you get the break in the weather for today's game.
Miss Lena Childers told me she prayed it out of here, so I got to give it to her again. She said she prayed it on out, so I guess Miss Lena came through for me.
All right, what about the keys to the game today, Coach?
I told my kids, everybody in the building knows the first one. I mean, you don't need a coach to tell you that. And we were arrogant last year. We thought we could tackle him. One man can't tackle Stephen Hodge. We're going to have to do some things. We've done some things differently today. Try to get him on the ground. The second thing is turnovers. We turned the ball over 3 times last night. We won't win today.
Right.
We turned the ball over 3 times. You just can't. You can't have long drives and turn the ball over. And then the third one, the kicking game. That game would have been over last week if we just take care of our punting team. and we didn't do that, and that's what got them back in the ball game. Today, you watch. Those three things will be huge: Hodge, turnovers, and kicking game.
All right, as far as the Buckeyes, I know we're banged up, beat up, but anybody that won't start?
Ben Bryant will probably not be able to play. His growing injury's too bad. The other two kids that got hurt last week are going to try to go.
All right, Coach. Well, best of luck in the regional championship. And, of course, we do know that when we pull this one out, it would be the Snyder Tigers next week, and we'll talk to you a little bit more about that in about 3 hours when we come back down here to talk about next week.
Really, I've been here so many times. I mean, I know y'all probably read about it, but our staff has been together a long time.
Right.
And we didn't beat Texas City at the time. We didn't beat Ennis. We didn't beat Atlanta. This is our 5th time here, and we're fortunate to have been here 5 times. But when you've never done something, until you do it, it's hard to see yourself doing it. And I'm, mentally, I can't even imagine. If we get to have that talk, I'll be one happy young man.
Well, so will I, one happy middle-aged man. Well, Coach, best of luck. We look forward to visiting with you after a win today. Gilmer Buckeye head football coach and athletic director Jeff Traylor. Stay with us. Hopefully in just a moment we'll be able to visit with Coach Evans from the Tatum Eagles, and then we'll be back with the starting lineup for the Buckeyes since we don't have it for the Eagles. Stay with us. We're joined now by Tatum Eagle head football coach Andy Evans, and Coach, it's not often that a coach gets to come in and take over a team the first year with the talent you've got. And a lot of times when you have a coaching change, that ends up having to learn new plays for the team, and it just doesn't work out. But 12-1, obviously it's worked out very well for you and the Tatum Eagles this year.
Well, I think the kids are responsible for that. They've accepted myself and the other coaches that came in, and they've done everything we've asked them to do. And then I had a lot of great coaches that were already here that stayed to help. So things have worked out really well for us. Well,
needless to say, now that it really can't make a whole lot of difference in the game, are you ready to divulge to us whether McCoy's going to go or not yet?
He can't play. He fractured his thumb in 3 places last week and had surgery last Friday night. And, we're gonna miss him a bunch because he's a great part of our football team, not only on defense but on offense also.
Well, let me ask you, because I'm sure you've heard about all the threads on Smoky.com. Some of the things that we've read this week is you were going to consider pulling your free safety up to his spot at linebacker, and Stephen Hodge would play safety. Is there any truth to that, or what are you going to do regardless?
I'm not going to talk about all that, but we've had to move some. Obviously, we've had to move some kids around because Dalen was so valuable to us, and but we've got some kids that have played all year and that'll step in and they'll do a great job. I don't have a doubt.
Well, I'm sure you've had the opportunity at least to see the tape of the Gilmer-Tatum game last year. A very exciting game last year. No doubt in any of our minds that both teams were better than they were last year. What do you think the keys to this victory for whoever comes off this field a winner today are?
A lot of people have talked about what great offenses both of us have, but I think probably the factor in the ballgame is going to be the defenses. Both teams are very good on defense this year, and it might not be the same kind of game it was last year. It may not be a real high-scoring game. You never know, but they've, both teams really have played well on defense, and I think probably that's the key, the one that executes and makes the adjustments and things on defense, and then obviously the one of us that executes the best on offense will do best.
Well, I know it's no big secret that Stephen Hodge was injured and did come back in the fourth quarter last week in your victory over Wilmer Hutchins. How is he doing? I know he hadn't missed practice from what I heard this week.
Well, he missed one day, and we've had to do an MRI on his knee, and there's some issues there. But Stephen's he's a warrior, and he's going to line up and play. I don't think it would have mattered one way or the other, and we're going to get after it with all the kids that we got. So.
Well, I was going to say I think at this point in his career, if the Eagles win today, in a situation like that, if you've got a surgery potential, you're not going to do a tremendous amount more of damage, and it just comes to suck it up and find a way to do it, like you say, and the great ones always do, and there's no doubt he is a great young man, great athlete, and just tremendous talent.
We wouldn't gamble with Stephen's future at all. The doctors have assured us that his situation is that it's going to probably be painful, but that it's not something that's going to injure it any more than it already is, and that it's okay for him to play. And if they hadn't checked him out today and told us that, then he would be over there with me. We wouldn't risk his opportunity to play later on.
Well, Coach, anything else about this game you'd like to say I haven't asked you about before we finish up here?
I just I know that it's a great day for Texas high school football, and we're excited for the Tatum Eagles to be a part of that.
All right, Coach, thanks a lot for your time. And as we always say to the visiting coaches who are nice, and that's 90% of them. We're going to wish you the best of luck, but we always say after today. So may the best team win. Let's just leave it at that.
I'll take that.
All right. Thanks a lot, Coach.
Thank you.
Coach Andy Evans of the Tatum Eagles. Stay with us. We'll be back with the Buckeyes starting lineups in just a moment. Well, back for the starting lineups as we're about 20 minutes or so away from kickoff here. Again, we do not have the Tatum Eagles starting lineup. Coach Andy Evans obviously not wanting to give away what he was going to do with the changes he had to make defensively. So we'll just have to spot that for you as the Eagles come out onto the field offensively and defensively. For the Gilmer Buckeyes offensively, the center, 5'10", 165-pound senior, number 55, Logan Bishop. The left guard, 6'4", 250-pound freshman, number 76, David Snow. The right guard, 5'10", 240-pound senior, number 52, Jeremy Childress. The right tackle, 6'3", 220-pound junior, number 56, Kendall Abram. The left tackle, 5'9", 185-pounder, number 50, Matt Bryant. And you heard Coach Traylor say that he didn't know if Matt was going to be able to go or not. We'll see who comes out there if Matt can't go. I'm sure he'll try if he can. But Ben, that's right. I'm sorry. That was Ben that wasn't playing. Excuse me, Matt. Okay. The quarterback, 6'2", 180-pound senior, number 7, Manuel Johnson. The running back, 6', 185-pound senior, number 8, Terrence Lovely. And the wideout, 6'2", 185-pound senior, number 2, Kevin Hollis. 6'4", 175-pound senior, number 28, Tay Bowser. 5'7", 150-pound senior, number 4, J.T. Tennyson. And 5'8", 155-pound senior, number 10, Corey Jordan. For the Tatum Eagles offensively, Russ, we do know that Stephen Hodge will be in the backfield as the quarterback. That much we do know. And we do know number 3, Lennon Creer, will be one of the running backs. And what will the Buckeyes do to try to stop Hodge and Creer today?
Okay, the three-man front for Gilmer, we all know him well by now. Terrell Waters, number 30, 5'10", 230-pound senior. Roderick McKnight, number 33, 5'10", 175-pound senior. Mario Venters, number 32, 5'9", 210-pound senior. I believe he's a senior. Junior, I'm sorry.
Yeah, junior, yeah.
Offensive, the linebackers, outside linebackers. Kevin Hollis, number 2, 6'2", 185-pound senior. Number 12, 6'4", 205-pound senior, Jake Holliday at the other outside linebacker. The inside linebackers, Daniel Dodd, number 3, 6'2", 195-pound senior. And Chaz Kuakai, number 6, 180-pound senior. The cornerbacks are Willie Darden, number 15, a 5'11", 165-pound junior. Curtis Brown, number 11, 5'11", 160-pound sophomore. Terrence Lovely, number 8, 6', 185-pound senior. And the strong safety is Jeremy Skinner, number 5, 6', 180-pound senior.
All right, thanks a lot, Russ. And as you can see by the crowds filing in, I see the Tatum band going in over on the far side there now. We are officially, according to the clock, 17 minutes, 45 seconds and counting here left until halftime, until the kickoff of today's game for the Division II Class 3A Region 2 Championship here from Homer Bryce Stadium at Stephen F. Austin State University in Nacogdoches. And Russ, I'll tell you what, we cannot say enough about what a class facility this press box is. Man, I don't think we have ever had an easier setup or a better press box to work out of in all the years I have ever done high school football. This far and above exceeds anything else I've ever been in.
Yeah, we couldn't ask for anything better. And all we got to do now is kick off this game. I have a feeling it's going to be I believe, Coach Evans, I was thinking the same thing yesterday, and I think I related to you that it might be a low-scoring game, and right. I noticed he said the exact same thing.
Well, I don't want to sound too overconfident. Certainly don't want to sound arrogant. We know what happened last year when we thought we were going to beat Atlanta, but I just don't see anybody holding this Buckeye offense down. Now, granted, Pittsburgh did, but I think more than anything else, the Buckeyes maybe had gotten a little lethargic before that Pittsburgh game. There's no doubt Pittsburgh came on and was playing excellent football at the end of the year. But Pleasant Grove, the first time around, held us to 20. Pittsburgh, that last game of the year, 22. And those are really the only teams that have held the Buckeyes in check this year. And I just don't see Tatum being able to hold us to under 21 points.
Tatum, though, is the second best Class 3A defense, only exceeded by the Black Flag defense of the Buckeyes. So if anybody can stop Gilmer, it'll be Tatum.
That definitely would be true. Well, speaking of stopping, we're going to take a quick break for a commercial, and we'll be back with probably what we anticipate very quickly will be the school songs. And this press box, we will say this before the break, is so nice, it actually has the crowd noise piped into the press box. So even though this is an enclosed press box and we can't open any windows from our vantage point as far as shooting, we will be able to hopefully get the National Anthem and Gilmer School songs for you. We'll be back again after this commercial break. E-Tex Telephone Cooperative is your hometown community partner, providing service to Upshur and the surrounding areas. The success of the local network over the years has made it possible to bring the most advanced technology to our area. E-Tex now brings the same friendly hometown service to Gilmer. Internet access and long-distance service is now available to everyone in Gilmer. E-Tex looks forward to providing your telecommunications needs. Call our office at 903-797-2711 and ask a friendly customer service representative how E-Tex can serve your telecommunications needs. E-Tex, your local hometown partner, backs the Buckeyes. Well, Russ, talking about crowds, you heard Coach Jeff Traylor say we had heard the number 10,000. I think that's what was on Smoky.com. Obviously, we can't believe everything we read on the Smoky.com threads. Coach Traylor said it was not 10,000, but that without a doubt, it was, in his estimation, the largest number of tickets ever sold to any Gilmer football game in the history of the school. So that speaks well. But as you can see along the far sideline, the Tatum Eagles are well represented here too. I would guess, just looking at the way the stands are, there's probably about 50% more Gilmer fans here right now than there are Tatum fans.
The official capacity is allegedly 15,300.
Okay.
So you can just guess based on that how close to being filled up we are.
Well, I would guess it looks like both the home side and the visitor side stands are pretty much the same size. I don't think it's any larger on the home field side or home side of the field. Looks like both go to about the 17-yard line. And it looks to me like, tell me if I'm wrong, Russ, it looks to me like they both are pretty much the same height. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Well, if that's the case, and you said the capacity was what?
15,300.
Well, that would mean about 7,500 roughly on each side. And I would say if you look down on the Gilmer side, we probably have maybe 5,000 here, which would mean on the Tatum side there's about 3,000 roughly. Definitely a very, very well-attended ball game, and these schools are both going to do well on the gate receipts.
Tatum came real close to going down to Class 2A this past reclassification back in February.
Right.
And but they're still not the smallest 3A school, still in the playoffs, amazingly. Hallettsville, which is playing this weekend, Liberty Hill for the Region 4 winner,
right,
had 390, the exact cutoff margin, whereas Tatum has 392, and as we've said before, Gilmer's 629 as of the last time enrollment was taken.
Right.
Second biggest in our district, which we're thankful for. Although, yes, had we gone big school, we'd be playing for the state championship probably by next week, and absolutely, I think we still would be in the playoffs because we would have eliminated, we were just talking about this a while ago, probably Abilene Wiley.
Right.
Rather than Roy City having been defeated by Abilene Wiley.
Well, there's a lot of excitement in the air, and I'll tell you, Russ, I guess it remains to be seen how this new momentum turf that was installed here in the summer at Stephen F. Austin State University holds up over the long haul. But walking on it, it felt more to me like natural grass than any other artificial surface I've walked on, ever. Was very, very impressed.
That shows, I think, didn't I read that I sent that link to you? Wasn't it a Louisiana firm
yes,
that did this? So that shows that not everything that comes out of Louisiana is necessarily inferior.
That's right. Well, like I say, only time will tell. Well, as you can see, the Tatum Eagles have their, what'd you call that, Eagles nest, Russ, set up on the northeast end of Homer Bryce Stadium here in Nacogdoches. And I get a feeling that the Buckeyes are never going to have anything like that. The Kilgore Bulldogs have it, of course. Tatum Eagles have it. A number of schools in East Texas have it. The Pine Tree Pirates had it. A number of schools do have it, but I doubt we're ever going to see that in Gilmer, just like we're not going to see players' names on the back of jerseys in Gilmer. And again, Coach Traylor explained that one when I asked about it last year, and I got to admit, I do like his reasoning behind not doing that. The fact that it emphasizes an individual player in some cases more than it emphasizes team.
Well, we hope it doesn't go down to the wire like the last time these two teams played, but wasn't that some exciting game the last time these two teams met at Buckeye Stadium in 2001? Remember Don Griffin?
Don Griffin.
71-yard fumble recovery after all, including you and I, had given up hope. I mean, I don't know if I explicitly said it the way you did, but I didn't say anything, but it was just a miracle finish. Don Griffin fumble recovery for a touchdown. Gilmer won district, ran the table 28-24.
Well, as I recall, I said something, maybe not exactly like this, but something to the effect, it's really disappointing that the Buckeyes are going to lose this district championship here on their own home turf. And as we both recall, Tatum was driving, and they already had the 3-point lead. And it looked like it was about to go to 10, and all of a sudden, there goes Don Griffin. And deservedly so. Coach Traylor's never let me forget that. He's told me from that point on, don't ever count the Buckeyes out. And absolutely, he's right. And it looks like the Tatum Eagles are coming out on the field. And we're going to crank up, as we said, we have the availability for crowd noise. We're going to crank up and pick up the crowd noise. And pretty quickly here, we should have the school songs. We'll try to get those for you as well. Well, did he say the national anthem or the school song? I guess the Tatum school song coming up. I see their band director over on the far side. So we will anticipate the Tatum school song in just a moment here. And looking next door, Russ, I see former Pine Tree and Spring Hill head football coach Maurice Cook, the father of Michael Cook, the pastor of First Baptist Church, Gilmer. I remember one time when Ronnie Morrison and I were doing the Gilmer playoff games in '91 when we went to Mesquite Memorial Stadium to play, I believe it was the Forney Yellow Jackets.
Jackrabbits.
Jackrabbits, yes. Coach Cook went along with us, and we really enjoyed the opportunity to visit with him that day. He had some really good insights being a former head football coach.
Okay, Brother Mike Cook is next door, and I did ask him for a prediction, so we get it on the record that Brother Mike Cook, pastor of First Baptist Church, says it's going to be Gilmer 24, Tatum 19.
I honestly don't think it'll be that close if the Buckeyes can hold on to football. That's just my opinion, but and you can hear the Tatum school song going, and pretty quickly here we will have the Gilmer school song. Gilmer school song. We're going to have a moment of silence now, then followed by the national anthem.
This time we'll have the posting of the colors.
All right. We are pulling the crowd noise in again through the intercom here in our press box room. We will keep the crowd noise in until after the national anthem, and we may cut it back in every once in a while just for some effect, like when the Buckeyes score a touchdown or something, Russ. I think that would be good effect to have, but we're not going to keep it on with the PA all through the year. Now you have the Gilmer Air Force Junior ROTC posting the Texas and American flags here at Homer Bryce Stadium, and once those flags reach midfield, we will have the playing of the national anthem by the Buckeye Band.
Now the Gilmer High School Band will play our national anthem.
The national anthem played by the Buckeye Band. And, of course, both teams ready to come out. Looks like the Eagles may come out of their nest before the Buckeyes. We'll wait and see.
Did you notice the teams got together for the devotional a while ago, moment of silence, I should say?
Oh, I did not notice that.
Yeah, they knelt together. That's a sign of real good sportsmanship.
Here come the Buckeyes. Yes, it is. If memory serves me right, Russ, I believe the final poll that came out, Tatum was number 9. I know they were in the top 10, but I think it was number 9. Do you recall for sure?
No, I don't. The polls are meaningless now, though.
It is. And here come the Tatum Eagles, looking more like the Philadelphia Eagles, really. Well, there's been a lot of excitement, really, since last Saturday night about 9:30, I guess, up in Greenville, Russ. I'm sure Tatum wanted this rematch forever. Since we defeated the Eagles last year at what is now Trinity Mother Frances Rose Stadium in Tyler. But I think Buckeye fans, as we've talked about, feel like this Buckeye defense is better than the one last year even. And certainly our offense is equal to, if not better than last year's.
Well, last year's team, you don't want to downgrade them at all, though. They had an absolutely identical 13-0 record coming into the game.
They certainly did.
Last year with Atlanta, and they had just beaten these Tatum Eagles 35-27, as you say.
All right, here come the captains out. Looks like for the Tatum Eagles, it will be number 54, and that's going to be Brian Coleman. Excuse me, that's number 64, Angel Rocha. Number 50, Marcus Hodges. Number 4, Keenan Bush. And number 6, Stephen Hodge, the quarterback for the Gilmer Buckeyes. Number 7, Manuel Johnson. Number 6, Chaz Kuakai. Number 3, Daniel Dodd. And number 2, Kevin Hollis. And Bush, if we do know, is the tight end for the Tatum Eagles. And Marcus Hodges and Angel Rocha are both listed as offensive linemen on the program. And we would certainly assume all 4 of those young men are going to be starters today. Looks like the Gilmer Buckeyes have won the toss of the coin, and they have said, give us the ball.
And that's different than last week in which we deferred.
Yes, it is. Well,
usually we do take the ball, though. Last week was an exception.
Yeah, it was. And Coach Maurice Cook came in a minute ago to shake hands while we were having the Gilmer School song, Russ, and I asked him to come over after a while if he'd be willing to do that and join us for a couple of minutes maybe. We will have him to talk about his thoughts since he faced the Gilmer Buckeyes many, many times when he coached the Pine Tree Pirates for a number of years. And, of course, also faced the Gilmer Buckeyes a few times as head coach of the Spring Hill Panthers. And really, I think Coach Cook was probably the innovator. He is the first one that started really, as far as East Texas teams, Russ, the run and shoot offense. When he went to Spring Hill, he knew they didn't have the power to run power football over there, and he instituted that. And I remember one year when he was coaching at Spring Hill, I think they threw the ball like 61 times that night in the Gilmer-Spring Hill game. And as I recall, it lasted for about 4.5 hours. Well, maybe not that long, but it was close to 4 hours as I recall. All right, looks like it'll be number 16. Kicking it off, Martin Vasquez. He is a junior. We had heard that he might be in the backfield potentially, but he is an awfully small young man. Understand maybe about 5'5" or so, and about 160 pounds tops. Here's Vasquez kick. It'll be taken by Skinner at the 3, across the 10, 15, and he's going to be dropped at the 15-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Buckeyes. And Russ, that Tatum downfield kicking team coverage just excellent.
Yeah, Clarence Leach made that tackle. There was quite a few men around the football. That was just good coverage.
Well, the thing about it, if there is one area at times this season that has haunted the Gilmer Buckeyes, it has been the downfield kick coverage on both kickoffs and punts. You heard Coach Traylor say we had to win the kicking game, and we really didn't last week, he felt. All right, Manuel Johnson will have 3 receivers to the left side, 1 to the right. It will be, of course, Terrence Lovely standing at the 10-yard line with Johnson. Manuel comes up, yells the play to the offensive lineman. 5 seconds left to get the ball snapped. 4, 3, gets it off. Here goes a pass. It's complete to Hollis, and he slips down after he makes the catch at about the 22-yard line. That's a gain of 7, 2nd and 3.
Good yardage that time. We'll take that play every time. Spruill was covering him rather loosely, as he would have to respect Hollis' speed.
Well, on that defense, Stephen Hodge is not playing on defense. We had heard that he might go both ways. Obviously, he is not. We'll try to get that defense set for you here in a little bit. 2nd and 3 from the 22 for the Buckeyes. Just underway, 11:22 and counting left here in the first quarter. Johnson throws the pass again to Hollis. It's at the 26. He dodges a couple of Eagle defenders, breaks free across the 30 up to the 35-yard line before he's dropped out. Great job of concentration by Kevin Hollis.
Well, it's hard to say 2 plays is a trend, but they seem to be picking on number 12, Spruill, and Hollis broke out of the tackle of Spruill in that play. Good, tough run.
Yes, he did. And I'm trying to get these linemen all set here, and we'll get on that. They're playing right now pretty much a 3-man front. Number 10, James Miller, who is a junior. Number 82, Xavier Banda, who is a junior. And number 99, Tyrone Bradley, who's a senior. And Bradley looks, well, now they go with 4 down linemen. Bradley looks to be the biggest of the bunch as far as the defensive line. 1st and 10, Johnson gets the pass out on the hitch to Hollis. He's at the 40-yard line and dropped there, gain of 5, 2nd and 5.
3 plays, 3 times Hollis has caught the ball from Manuel Johnson.
Lovely coming back in now. As Jules Johnson comes off, Tay Bowser will be wide to the right side. Willie Darden and J.T. Tennyson slot right. And I believe that's going to be Hollis at the wide left. Now they'll shift. Lovely goes over to Manuel's left side. In motion, J.T. Tennyson probably be the end around, and it is to J.T. 45, 1st down, midfield 50, 45, and down to the 41-yard line, 1st and 10 Buckeyes.
Number 2 for Tatum prevented a touchdown most likely, because if he doesn't make that play, we know J.T. Tennyson's going to race to the end zone. That was T.O. Freeney.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it with J.T.'s speed. He can do that. And let's see, number 51 is the other defensive lineman, and that is Eric Lewis. And Barney Smith told me last night that Eric Lewis was his grandson, and he said, make sure you mention him if he gets in the ball game. Well, Barney, he's not just in the ball game, he's starting. So we'll kind of try to keep an eye on him. Manuel dropping back. He wants to go downtown, going for Bowser, and it's a caught ball and then dropped. Oh, man, he had it, and a great job by the defender of pulling the ball out.
I don't think that could be called drop. Spruill made a play on that.
Yeah, he did.
Stephon Spruill, after being picked on over here with Hollis, he came back and redeemed himself on that play.
Well, Tay Bowser, I said drop. Tay Bowser had it in both hands, and literally Spruill ripped it out of his hands. Tay had to go up just a little bit to try to pull it in, and he had both hands on the ball, but like you say, just a great job by Spruill. Braylon Ector will go wide to the left side this time. Hollis will be wide right, and there will be a man slot on both sides of the ball here. Johnson, and the pass is complete at the 40 or 35-yard line for a gain of 5. It'll bring up 3rd down and 5 now.
That was J.T. Tennyson again.
And the Buckeyes definitely, I think, Russ, are going to be in 4-down territory here if they don't get the first down. They certainly would love to get this thing and just drive it right down the Eagles' throat, get the early 7-0 lead, and let the black flag come out. Ector again will go wide to the right side or left side. There'll be 2 slot receivers left, and Hollis wide to the right. Manuel Johnson looking, in trouble, gets the pass completed to J.T. Nobody around 25 and out at the 23-yard line. 1st and 10 Buckeyes.
This drive started way back at the 15-yard line, now down to the 23, so that's 62 yards in about 7 plays.
And less than 3 minutes, actually 2 minutes and 33 seconds, Russ, is all this drive has taken. We'd love to see the Tatum fans pouring out of here in the 3rd quarter, wouldn't we? You got to feel like this is going to be a down-to-the-wire type game. 1st and 10 from the 23. Johnson sends JT in motion again. He fakes the carry, quarterback draw, 20, 15, and falls at the 14-yard line. Gain of 9, and Manuel knows he had a touchdown if he hadn't lost his footing.
I believe, ironically, he may have tripped over his own man there. I think he tripped over number 56, Kendall Abram.
I believe he did. Manuel knows that would have been 6 had he not tripped.
Probably just a momentary delay, though, on the way to the end zone.
As they used to say on some of the TV football games, we've got a momentary pause in the action. Ector again wide left. The slot receivers are Darden and Tennyson to the left, and it will be Hollis wide to the right. Lovely in the backfield. We're down to 4 seconds, and we're going to have to take a timeout, and the Buckeyes do that. We'll take it with them. Gilmer National Bank proudly invites you to stop by their location at 900 North Wood Street in Gilmer today. You'll love the easy access into and out of the bank on Highway 271. Gilmer National features an international ATM machine that accepts all ATM and credit cards. You can also take advantage of their 24-hour telebank service that allows you to make numerous transactions by phone 24 hours a day. And check out their online internet banking site at www.gnbgilmer.com. Stop by today and you'll say, Gilmer National, that's my bank. Well, 8:41 left here in the first quarter of play. The Buckeyes won the toss of the coin. If you joined us late, elected to receive. Got the ball at the 15 on a return by Jeremy Skinner that started at the Buckeye 3. He returned it 12 to the 15, and they have been on a consistent march now down at the 14-yard line with a 2nd down and 1. It will be Ector, Darden, and Tennyson to the left side, Hollis to the right side again, Lovely to the left side of Manuel Johnson in the backfield. And now Lovely shifts over to Manuel's right side. Quarterback draw again by Manuel, and he cuts outside again, and he'll have the first down by about a yard down to the 12, 1st and 10.
Pretty good play there by number 82, Xavier Banda.
Yes, and I did get the defensive line set. Also, number 70, Isaiah Thompson, who I did not mention. And they're doing a lot of shifting down there. Number 3, Lennon Creer, is one of the linebackers. Number 5, Jake Montgomery, is also a linebacker. Pitch back JT, and he breaks free inside the 10 and gets, honestly, Russ, 3 yards out of what looked like was going to be nothing.
Yeah, I believe they call that a forward pass. It wasn't a pitch back, I don't think. But number 20 made a good play. Gabe Walker, you got to keep that corner contained when J.T. Tennyson is on the loose, and he did.
You're right. I was looking down trying to get this defense set, so thank you for catching that. Let's see. I believe the other linebacker is number 12, Stephen Spruill, or Stefan Spruill. And get the corners set in a moment for you. 2nd and 7. Manuel on a sweep to the right side. Cuts it back in. 5. Touchdown, Buckeyes. And with 7:31 left in the first quarter, your Gilmer Buckeyes 6, the Tatum Eagles 0, with the point after to come. And they made it look easy, Russ.
Yeah,
just
it looks
methodically drove it down the field.
Looks a lot like the beginning of the Dallas-Madison game so far.
Yes, it does. That's what the Buckeyes wanted to do, jump out on Tatum early. Manuel Johnson will hold for the point after attempt by Shea Harborth. And they, as they do many times, shift out of that swinging gate formation. Here's the snap, the placement, the kick. The Buckeye line does the job. And our score, the Gilmer Buckeyes 7, the Tatum Eagles 0. We'll take another quick timeout.
Oh my gosh, the kids are in the highway again. The darn dogs are in the neighbor's trash again. The cows are in the neighbor's barn again. Please call Lee Tillman Fence and Construction. He specializes in chain link, farm, wood privacy fences, and wood decks. Also, he has a 30-year warranty, residential or commercial, serving all East Texas, fully insured since 1979 with over 25 years experience. You know you're getting the best price in town. Free estimates, financing available. That's Lee Tillman Fence and Construction, Gilmer, Texas, 903-734-5325. Give him a call today.
Well, Russ, now we get to see what the Black Flag defense can do. We know Stephen Hodge has a tremendous amount of talent. What you would love to see, as we talked about at the beginning of that Madison game last week, would be a 3-and-out on the first possession by Tatum. And they're going to put number 27 back deep. That is going to be Darnius Moore. Also back there with him will be number 12, Stefan Spruill, and number 22, Taurine Stoker. And you see the clouds beginning to come in a little bit more, but I got a funny feeling, Russ, we're going to be in good shape to get this one in the books before the rains hit here. Buckeyes make that usual approach to the ball like they're going to kick, stop about a yard short, then go back and reset. And Cabrera now is ready to kick it away. And it's just going to be a simple one-step, just pop it up in the air at the 20, heading right and breaking into the secondary of the coverage all the way up to the 34-yard line. And this is certainly, Russ, not what Coach Traylor wanted to have happen.
Jules Johnson and Jeremy Skinner in on the coverage there. Not terribly good field position.
No, it's not great, but
he
you
made
want
a good move to make that 10 or 12 yards on the return.
He did. You want to try to keep them no further than about the 25-yard line if you can, though. Okay, the offensive line looks like will be made up of number 78, Alan Holloway. Well, I didn't get a good enough look at everybody. Nope, that's for us. Let me try again. Jeremy Matthews, number 78. First and 10, Tatum from their own 34. Handoff up the middle. Boom. 1-yard gain to the 35, and that is it.
And that was Roderick McKnight who made the ball carrier go boom.
And I'll tell you what, if the Buckeye Black Flag defense can play like that, number 72 checking out of the lineup offensively now for the Tatum Eagles. That was Stephen Rockwell. Number 8, Matt Hale, will be one of the wide receivers, along with number 20, Gabe Walker. And we got a flag on the play already. 12 men in the huddle. Yep, illegal substitution, Tatum. That'll cost them 5, move the ball back to the 30, and make it 2nd and 14. So they had 12 men in the huddle. That won't work. Well, you heard, well, I say you heard, you may not have, Russ, but I was talking to one of the Tatum assistants down in the main section of the press box and asked him what Tatum was going to do, and he said, put 12 men on the field. Well, they tried. Didn't work. These officials can count to 12 very easily. All right, Hodge in the shotgun, dropping back to pass. Going downfield, here's the pass, and it is intercepted almost by J.T. Tennyson.
He was going for Hale there.
Yes, he was.
Looked like it might be a dangerous play at first, but actually Tennyson came closer to fielding the ball than anyone.
Well, again, Tennyson is giving up 8 to 10 inches to Hale. Man, you can't say enough about the grittiness of J.T. Tennyson. He is out-heightened, I guess would be a way to put it, on almost every receiver he defends against. But that young man can flat jump when it comes to crunch time. 3rd and 14. And JT will be on Hale once again. Buckeyes wanting to get some pressure on Hodge. He drops straight back, looking for Hale again. This pass is complete, but no first down. Gain of about 12. He needed 14. 4th and 2, and Tatum will be forced to punt. So it is a 3 and out, Russ.
Yeah, the receiver knew where he needed to be to make a first down, or didn't know where he needed to be, apparently, from where he caught it.
Well, I think JT did a good job of forcing him not to be able to get to where he wanted to go either. And let's see. I know that's a single-digit punting for Tatum, but I can't pick up the number. Is that 8 or 5?
That's Hodge that punted.
Oh, that is Hodge. Okay. Glad you know. Manuel Johnson standing at the Buckeye 25. Stephen Hodge gets a high snap, but the Buckeyes just had a return on. Manuel Johnson says, I'll fair catch it, and does at the 26-yard line. 1st and 10 Buckeyes. And so far, Russ, this game starting off just like the Gilmer Buckeyes would like to have it.
I'll say the same thing I did last week. Madison needed to hang closer. They did eventually make a bit of a comeback, but Tatum's got to watch it here. They'll be on the verge of blowout city themselves.
Well, that if that happens, that will end all the smack talk on Smoky.com by the Tatum people who thought they were going to beat us by 3 touchdowns. I couldn't believe anybody actually thought that. I noticed some of the Tatum guys said that was some of the high school kids that were hoping. All right, here's the end around again, and this across the 30 to the 31-yard line. That's going to be a gain of about 4, and on that end around was Curtis Brown. 2nd and 6. 5:15 and counting left first quarter. Buckeyes up 7-0, hoping to increase that to 14 on this possession. Well, like you were saying, Russ, on the Smoky.com thing, if the Buckeyes win this one big, everybody will say it was because of McCoy. And here's the pass. Oh, my goodness, what a catch.
Yep.
Bobbled for a second by Kevin Hollis, and the 2 Tatum defenders on top of him, number 5 and number 12, looking in disbelief that Kevin Hollis caught that pass. He was hit just as he put his right hand up to catch it, bobbled it for a minute, looked like it was going to be incomplete, and he brought it right into his chest.
Be 3rd and 1, though. Not quite to the first down stick.
Not quite enough. They've got to get to the 37, and they're at the 36. Wouldn't be surprised to see that quarterback draw here by Manuel. Terrence Lovely and Johnson and the receivers all check the play sheet on their wrist, and it is a quarterback draw by Manuel. He'll have the first down and more. 38-39, out of bounds at the 40. 1st and 10 Buckeyes.
Bush knocked him out of bounds for Tatum, but about a 4-yard gain, more than enough.
Didn't need but 1, and the Tatum coaching staff just adamant at a couple of their secondary guys. In fact, I think it's their cornerback, number 2, T.O. Freeney. The other corner, by the way, is number 12 now. Stephon Spruill has switched to corner. And here's Hollis on that little hitch pass. Breaks free, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown. Touchdown, Buckeyes, 13-0, and one of the officials got knocked down by one of the Tatum defenders.
Did you see the block Logan Bishop threw?
I'm telling you.
That cleared it. Kevin Hollis owes Logan Bishop a steak dinner for that.
Yeah. If this was the NFL, it would be Rolex watch.
And he broke a tackle himself, too.
Yes, he did. Well, Tatum fans could be in for a long day if the Black Flag defense can continue to play the way they are right now. 3 and out on Tatum. Stop and think about this. We played 8 minutes. Tatum has had the ball for 3 plays. That's it. Manuel to hold again for the kick by Harbarth. Snap, placement, kick, good. Oh, no, hits the crossbar, no good. So the Buckeyes probably will go for 2 when the next touchdown comes. Not if and when the next touchdown comes. We'll take a quick timeout.
Dallas Chevrolet was established in 1966 and continues to be a family-owned and operated company. We take great pride in supporting the Gilmer Buckeyes and our community. Drop by anytime and let Richard, Jay, or Roy buy you a cup of coffee or show you a new Chevrolet or Oldsmobile. We've got a full line of Chevrolets for you to choose from Malibus to minivans, Suburbans, trucks, 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, you name it, we've got it. But you may like what we don't have. We don't have high-pressure sales. We treat each and every customer the way we ourselves would like to be treated. Plus, we bring you any advertised price, and we'll do our best to beat it. You can also visit us online at Gazelle.com. Gazelle Chevrolet Oldsmobile, proudly supporting Gilmer and the Gilmer High Buckeyes.
Okay, number 27, Darnius Moore will be back deep again. The short men, number 22 and number 12, that will be Torian Stoker and Stephon Spruill. Well, Russ, I got to ask you the question. Are you surprised that it's been so easy so early?
This game reminds me of Atlanta-Gilmer, only we're Atlanta this year.
Yes. And here's the kick. It'll be taken at the 22-yard line. That is Spruill. He's got a wall and gets across the 35 down to the 39-yard line. And again, the Buckeyes don't quite get it done. Kick coverage. But again, Russ, I think part of that may be the Buckeyes are purposely not kicking to Darnius Moore. There must be some reason they don't want him to touch the football. Because we know Gerardo Cabrera has a leg to kick it deeper than that.
Looked like Chaz Kuakai was among the people in on the stop.
That was a 19-yard return by Spruill. 1st and 10, Tatum. Buckeyes really would love to see another 3 and out here. Number 3, Lennon Creer in the backfield, and now you see the Buckeye-like offense that Tatum did not run until the playoffs began, which is a bit of a surprise. Some good protection. Hodge has some room and throws the pass over the head of the intended receiver, number 20, Gabe Walker. And the thing about that, Russ, if Hodge had just run, he could have picked up close to a first down.
Certainly he could have.
Maybe Hodge is a little bit nervous. And I know you said coming out, we know he's got some problems with that knee, with the ligaments he strained last week. And you said it coming down, Hodge hadn't been nearly as impressive this year as he was last year.
Well, just statistically,
right,
I mean,
that's
I
what
don't know. He may have played a tougher schedule.
I don't think so.
Well, Wilmer Hutchins certainly shut him down last week.
2nd and 10, and here goes Hodge. Speaking of Hodge, going on the sweep outside, and he's got the corner turned. First down, and he's on his way, and the Buckeyes won't get him. And it's going to be 13-6 right now. Wow. Well, that's what I get. I jinxed us that time, Russ.
Well, about 61 yards, looks to me like.
Yep. Any way you slice it. So just like that, the Tatum Eagles are back in the game. And now, Russ, that missed extra point starting to look a little potentially interesting. Number 16, Martin Vasquez to kick the point after. Tatum just going for 1 here. Buckeyes have pressure, but not enough to prevent the point after from going through. And with 3:34 left in the first quarter, our score, the Gilmer Buckeyes 13 and the Tatum Eagles 7. And that just shows you, Russ, how scary Tatum can be when everything clicks for them.
Looks like my prediction of a low-scoring game is going to go by the boards fairly early here.
Well, you know, you never can tell. This thing could end up scoreless from here even. Stranger things have happened. But I'm sure Coach Todd Barr and the Black Flag defense will try to figure out what went wrong on that play. Everybody was containing for the pass over on the near side here close to the Buckeye side of the field, and Hodge literally had nothing but green turf to look at all the way down the sidelines. One Buckeye almost had a chance at him just as he turned the corner, but once he turned the corner, it was over. And it'll be, again, Jeremy Skinner back deep to receive for the Buckeyes, along with Terrence Lovely. And Tatum looks like they have this thing teed up to kick it deep again. You got to wonder if they'll, Russ, at some point in time, maybe potentially try a little squib or an onside. But the way they've got it teed up, it looks like Vasquez is going to kick it straight away again as he did on the first Tatum kick. And it'll be Skinner at the 2 this time. 10, 15, down at the 17. And Tatum has excellent downfield kick coverage. That's really, if you would say there's anything the Buckeyes maybe are missing on a little bit this deep in the playoffs, Russ, would be the kick coverage.
That was 18 Clarence Leach that made that hit. He's been down there every time.
All right, 1st and 10 from the 17. 3:28 left first quarter. Buckeyes jumped out to the 13-0 lead, and then Stephen Hodge hoofed it himself for 61 yards and got the Eagles right back in at 13-7 with 3:28 left here in the first quarter. JT in motion. He'll get the handoff, and he's up to the 20. Outside 25, cuts it back up to the 30 and down at the 32-yard line. 1st and 10 Buckeyes.
That play's been effective every time it's been run so far.
Yes, it has. Well, a few more Gilmer fans came in since we talked a while ago, and I would imagine there's at least about 6,000 folks over, not necessarily from Gilmer, but at least sitting on the Gilmer side. Probably about 3,000 to 3,500 on the Tatum side right now. So probably close to 7,000 here. Manuel Johnson in trouble. Now going downfield, he's got Tay Bowser wide open, and he's got it. Touchdown, Buckeyes. Way to go, Buckeyes.
Wow.
And just like that, the Buckeyes get it right back. It's 19-7. Defender fell down, but Russ, he had the defender beat by 3 yards anyway.
And that started from the 32, I think, 68 yards.
So the Buckeyes say, okay, Stephen Hodge, you go 61 on a run. We'll throw a 67-yard pass.
And somewhere we understand the Mississippi State head coach is here somewhere. And
now, I don't see him on the sideline.
Well, if he is, he sure enjoyed that play.
Yes, he did. Sure he is, licking his chops. And timeout called by the Buckeyes again, and they'll take their second time out here. Oh, Buckeyes have somebody hurt, and Coach Traylor wanted to go check on him. Is that Manuel? Yes, that is Manuel Johnson on the bench. And I didn't see him get hit, but apparently he did, and he is in severe pain, it appears, with the right shoulder. Oh, man. I don't know if Russ, when he threw the pass, I didn't see him get hit, did you? But I was looking downfield to Tay Bowser.
I didn't see it either. Back up now anyway.
Well, maybe he's going to be okay, but he is holding that right shoulder very close to his body. So understandably now, you see quickly why Coach Jeff Traylor called that timeout. Now he is moving the arm. I think he just got a stinger on it because Coach Steve York did not take the shoulder pads off, so hopefully maybe just a stinger on that right shoulder. And it could have been he just threw that ball with such velocity that he strained that arm and got some more pain. We'll hope that's all it is. Buckeyes just going to straight line it up and go for 2. And now you got Kevin Hollis in on the 2-point conversion attempt as Manuel can't get back in. In motion goes Kuakahi. And Hollis will not get there. He'll be dropped at the 4. Our score remains 19-7 in favor of the Gilmer Buckeyes. And Coach Steve York still talking to Manuel. He's making a movement with his right arm like he's trying to see if he can make it go. And Coach Jeff Traylor obviously very concerned right over there with Manuel and Coach York. And Coach York telling Coach Jeff Traylor his thoughts on whether or not Manuel's good to go or not. Manuel's shaking his head no, I think. I don't know if he was asked, are you okay, or does it hurt bad, but he definitely was shaking his head no. And what he was shaking his head no about, we won't know for a while. Well, I guess he was shaking his head no, he didn't want to come out because he's got a football in his hand. He's going to see how it feels, I think, is what they've decided. They're going to let him toss just little short ones to assistant coach Mike Maddox to see how it's going to feel. And Jamel Kennedy will take them from him. Manuel is throwing gingerly, Russ. That's not a good sign. We'll certainly hope and pray that Manuel can come back in and lead this team. 19 points in the first quarter. And now I think what you predicted, Russ, you'd like to see may be the case the rest of this game. Buckeyes may go for 2 every time. They kick it short again at the 15, and again it will be Taurine Spruill. And this time the Buckeyes do the job. He's down at the 25. Best coverage they've had of the 3 kickoffs now.
And that was Daniel Dodd in on the coverage. What can you say about him that hasn't already been said? What a superlative career he's had in his 3 years as a starter.
Coach Jeff Traylor over there now watching, not the game, but watching Manuel Johnson. And of course, Tatum took a timeout, I guess. I wasn't watching. No, they didn't. The officials gave him a long time to set up. They just now started the clock. And Coach Jeff Traylor back out to the field now. And Matt Bryant goes up and asks Manuel, how you feel? All right, here's Stephen Hodge again. Let's see what happens this time. He's going to go on the quarterback keeper. Now he decides to try to pass it. Now he decides to go downfield again, and he's going to be buried.
Jake Holiday.
Oh, no, that's intentional.
That's gotta be
it can't
grounding.
be intentional grounding.
He's out of the pocket.
They got to rule him down.
Jake Holiday had him down, looked to me like.
Yeah, I think he should. Well, he's not going to be ruled down. They're going to say it was a forward pass. Buckeye fans very upset about that. I think the knee was already touching the ground by the time
It was
he
pretty
threw
close.
It was. I'm not going to argue that one either way.
Hodge pulled a few magic tricks to get out of that to begin with.
Yes, he did. I thought he was going to run a sweep to this side. Then I thought he was going to run to the other side. Then I thought he was going to pass. But the reason he didn't, the Buckeyes had all the receivers locked up. And now Hodge goes under center for the first time. Gives the handoff to number 3, and he's got a big hole. Fumble on the play. Buckeyes have it, I believe. Yes, they do. Oh, surely they're not going to give this ball
25
to
got it.
Tatum.
Bernardo Ibarra got it. No question about it.
Well, they haven't signaled anything yet.
There
And
was
they put the ball at the
absolutely
35-yard line.
No question Bernardo Ibarra got on that ball.
Well, there's a question in the official's mind. Now there's not. Buckeye ball. And the Tatum coaching staff on the field wanting to talk to the officials, there is no doubt about that, number one. Number 2, Russ, the ball was fumbled and recovered at the 33, and they put it on the 35.
No, it squirted back out
did
to
it?
35,
Okay.
but clearly it was a fumble. That's what I thought you were trying to say. It wasn't a fumble.
No, I knew it was a fumble. There was no doubt about that. But Ibarra definitely had the football. Coach Evans still out on the field arguing the call, but
Manuel Johnson in
he's
there,
not gonna
quarterback.
win. Yes, he is. The officials say, forget it. The decision's made. Gilmer football.
Well, it wasn't
And
even.
I'll tell you what, they better watch out. And Coach Jeff Traylor saying to the official, get him back over on his sideline. This is ridiculous.
That was not a controversial call.
No, that was not a controversial call at all. Well, Coach Evans realizes he's on the verge of being blown out here. Handoff JT, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, down at the 4-yard line, 1st and goal.
What a play. That play's working to perfection every time it's tried.
Yes, it is. Absolute perfection.
The good thing about that is you don't have to use Manuel's sore arm.
Well, this should shut the Tatum fans up that have been mouthing on Smokey.com if this one continues. I thought it would be a close game. I really did. And then I thought it wouldn't be as close with McCoy out.
Actually, I got to say something in defense of Smokey.com because about 2/3 of the posters there were saying Gilmer would win.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the other third that were saying Tatum would win in a blowout. Here's a handoff to Hollis, and he's still on his feet. Finally, he'll be dropped down at about the 2. Or no, that was Lovely, excuse me. Got about half of what he needed, 2nd and goal from the 2. 1:49 and counting left first quarter. The Buckeyes are on the verge, Russ, of scoring more points in the first quarter than I honestly thought they'd score the whole game. I've been pretty much, and I'm sure McCoy has something to do with that, but I've been up to this point totally unimpressed with the Tatum defense. How they are the number 2 defense in the state is beyond.
I've already admitted I was wrong because I said it'd be low scoring. So.
Well, I thought it could be high scoring, but honestly, I never thought it could be this high scoring. Oh, Manuel, handoff Lovely, and he won't get there. You can tell that shoulder was bothering Manuel a little bit. He had a little bit of trouble in the exchange with Terrence, so it'll be 3rd down and goal from the 2. And, Russ, it looks like they're not going to let Manuel throw the ball.
They may not have to.
No, well, they've gotten 2 yards on 1st down, nothing on 2nd down.
Well, but
now
the play to number 4 has not failed yet.
No, it hasn't. Well, it's harder to run the end around when you're this close to the goal line, though. It might be a quarterback draw here by Manuel. Oh, goodness. Manuel looking. He has nobody out there. Still on his feet. Slips down, and he'll be buried.
And on number 22, Stoker popped him on the shoulder again.
Yes, he did.
You know they're gunning for that now.
Now you got to go for the field goal, and that is disappointing. That is really disappointing. Not Manuel's fault, but it's just disappointing that the Buckeyes couldn't cash in there. That could have, Russ, come close to making this thing over before the first quarter was over if they'd have been able to punch in a 26.
This is Cabrera's first field goal attempt in a long time, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Well, that thing was, well, have we called a timeout again? Oh, no, end of the first quarter. That is the end of the first quarter. Our score, the Gilmer Buckeyes 19, the Tatum Eagles 7. We'll be back after this commercial word.
E-Tex Telephone Cooperative, your hometown community partner, provides service to Upshur and the surrounding areas. The success of the local network over the years has made it possible to bring the most advanced technology to our area. E-Tex now brings the same friendly hometown service to Gilmer. Internet access and long-distance service is now available to everyone in Gilmer. E-Tex looks forward to providing your telecommunications needs. Call our office at 903-797-2711 and ask a friendly customer service representative how E-Tex can serve your telecommunications needs. E-Tex, your local hometown partner, backs the Buckeyes.
Well, Russ, I think there's no doubt about it. If the Buckeyes hadn't gotten in there, they might have gone for the field goal anyway, since Tatum had dropped them for no gain on 2nd down. But, man, you can tell the arm is bothering Manuel. He bobbled it a little bit at the snap. Then he got control. Then he almost slipped, and you wonder if that turf is a little slick down there. No, they're not. Cabrera is in. And it will be a 34-yard field goal attempt. And like Russ said, a long time since Cabrera's tried a field goal. It would be great to make this one. And it's got plenty of leg. No good. Wide left. That one hurts, Russ. That one hurts. As the Eagles literally dodge a bullet. Man, you'd have loved to have seen a score there.
That field goal would have just made up for some of the lost conversions. Basically.
Yeah, it would have. It would have made it 22-7. Now it is a 12-point game, and effectively the turnover didn't even hurt Tatum. Looked like it was going to, but just wasn't to be that time. I think it's safe to say, Russ, if Manuel Johnson had not hurt that shoulder again, that would have been another Buckeye touchdown. Stephen Hodge under center as they're abandoning the spread offense here pretty much. Handoff goes to number 3, and he's got tons of room, and he may go to the races. He's driven out. No, still in bounds, all the way down to the 18-yard line, and the Buckeyes just absolutely, Russ, caught sleeping as Lennon Creer. I thought he was going to go out at about the 35, but he didn't. And I think, Russ, what we're seeing right now is an emotional letdown with the injury to Manuel Johnson.
That was Bowser that knocked him out of bounds, and Creer is just a sophomore. That's the added dimension Tatum has this season that they didn't have at Rose Stadium last year.
Yeah, that's true. It was Stephen Hodge or nothing last year as far as the running game. Wow.
Got Dominique Buchanan in on calling the defensive signals now.
Talk about a strange turn of events. 2 big plays has the Eagles right back in this thing. One, the score that made the first touchdown for Tatum. The other one, that long run by Creer. Hodge hands it off to Creer again. This time he's buried. No gain, 2nd and 10 from the 18.
Mario Venters. I'm just wondering if maybe Dominique is in there because maybe Kevin Hollis is getting ready to come in at quarterback.
Well, now that could be. But Dominique did play some last week.
Yeah, he does regularly substitute in there.
So it may not be anything. Manuel's still standing on the sidelines, now talking with Coach Jeff Traylor. And Coach Traylor, I think, asking him, what do you think? Can you go? Can you not? They don't want to bench Manuel in a game this big if the arm is okay. But certainly, realizing the Buckeyes have a very good opportunity of advancing, they don't want to put him in jeopardy of not being able to play next week. Here's a handoff again to Creer, and he'll be dropped at the 17 after a gain of 1, 3rd and 9.
Bernardo Ibarra coming up big again on that play. He got that fumble recovery a few minutes ago.
Well, this is now becoming the close game I was afraid it would be all along, Russ. And you would have to say right now, Mo is swinging back with the pendulum toward the Tatum Eagles. And Tatum going to take a timeout. We'll take it with them.
Gilmer National Bank proudly invites you to stop by their location at 900 North Wood Street in Gilmer today. You'll love the easy access into and out of the bank on Highway 271. Gilmer National features an international ATM machine that accepts all ATM and credit cards. You can also take advantage of their 24-hour telebank service that allows you to make numerous transactions by phone 24 hours a day. And check out their online internet banking site at www.gnbgilmer.com. Stop by today and you'll say, Gilmer National, that's my bank.
And Jeremy Skinner getting his arm wrapped with tape on the bench on the near side. And Manuel just pacing the sidelines. You can tell he wants to get back in there. 3rd down and 9. Creer will now go in motion. Hodge back in the shotgun formation. He's going to be looking, has a man wide open at the end zone, touchdown. Fumbled the ball, but he was already across the goal line. And that is number 18, Clarence Leach, the tight end. And just like that, it's 19-13, and this thing's getting scary, Russ.
He knew Tatum wasn't going to lie down and take it.
Well, they're not a Dallas Madison for sure, although Madison didn't lie down either. But once the Buckeyes started on their run, Madison never got back closer than 16. Well, 14 at one point, actually. All right, here's Vasquez out of the hold of Matt Hale. Kick is no good. So now Tatum has missed an extra point.
That kind of evens it up a little bit. They need to miss one more.
Yes, they do. We'll take another quick timeout here. Our score, the Gilmer Buckeyes 19, Tatum Eagles 13.
Mike Craig Ford Mercury is a proud sponsor of Gilmer Buckeye football and all athletics at Gilmer ISD. Mike Craig Ford Mercury is your newest truck and car dealer in East Texas. Come by and see our new facility and all the great deals we have on new and used cars and trucks. Our new service and parts department is outfitted with the latest equipment and inventory to take care of all your automotive needs. Remember, at Mike Craig Ford, our name means a great deal. And don't forget to support the Buckeyes.
For us, obviously, all of this started with Manuel's injury. Everything was just cruising for the Buckeyes. I think they had a little emotional letdown seeing Manuel got hurt on that long pass to Tay Bowser. And then I think what really killed them is when they couldn't get the ball into the end zone on that possession, and then, of course, missing the field goal.
Yeah, we always thought it was going to be a close game, and
we're right back there.
Right back in it.
Vasquez will kick it away again to Lovely and Jeremy Skinner. 10:30 left here in the second quarter, and all of a sudden what looked like might be a blowout at 19-7, potentially going to 25 or 26-7, suddenly is 19-13. Another deep kick. It's taken by Skinner, and he'll reverse it. And here comes Lovely. 25, 30, 35, and up to the 36-yard line. That's the first time the Buckeyes have pulled that reverse after faking it a number of times in quite a while. Seemed like they did do it toward the first third of the season or so once or twice. But it gets the
Manuel
Buckeyes
Johnson,
to 36.
the real trooper back in there.
Yeah. Well, you know Tatum's going to be gunning for him, just like the Buckeyes have been gunning for Hodge. They know the shoulder was injured. They know it's re-injured. And we'll just see how it goes. If anybody can do it, Manuel Johnson can. Manuel comes up, gives the play to his offensive line, and now it's Skinner in the backfield instead of Lovely. Manuel on the keeper. Oh, man. He spins out of one, and he'll be buried and takes another hit on that shoulder, goes forward for back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it. Man, you hate to see him running the ball if he's already got that shoulder re-injured.
The whole crowd is wincing along with him.
Yeah. I mean, this is getting really scary. Well, I guess what that tells us is the Buckeye coaching staff not real confident in Manuel's ability to throw a downfield pass without possibly hurting the shoulder more. And if you take away that potential, that definitely changes the Tatum defensive possibilities, as they're going to put 8 men up in the box. Well, there is a pass complete to Bowser, and he breaks free at the 45, looking to go the other way, and is knocked forward for 3 yards to the 48, 1st and 10 Buckeyes. We need a touchdown right here, Russ, to kind of stem some of this emotion and momentum that Tatum has gotten back.
Tough running by Bowser there, hanging on to the ball. He took a hit that time.
Yes, he did. 48-yard line of the Buckeyes, 1st and 10 Gilmer, 9:24 and counting left in the half. Buckeyes lead it, but by 6, 19-13. Here goes the quick pitch to JT, and he's across the 45 down to the 43-yard line, gain of 9, 2nd and 1.
Tatum has really shown no ability at all to stop the Gilmer offense so far.
Well, they did down there on the goal line, but that was the only time. Really.
We'd already moved 30 yards.
Well, that's true. Before they did. You're right. Buckeyes really need to get a cushion here, and especially after missing the kick that hit the upright. And if my memory serves me correctly, is that not the first kick Harborth has missed point after?
Not at all sure.
I can't remember. He's been very, very consistent. 2nd and 1. Manuel, handoff, first down to Skinner at the 41. .8:25 left in the first half. And again, Jasper and Marlin to play after our game. They play at 8 o'clock tonight. I think that's a smart decision, Russ, by Stephen F. Austin, making sure that all of the Gilmer and Tatum fans can get out of here, clear this stadium. Our game should be over about 5, and then cleaning up the stadium and getting ready for the second ball game. And again, should the Buckeyes win today, should they win next week against Snyder, they would play the winner of the Marlin-Jasper game, probably, we expect, at least, in the state championship. Here's the roll. A lot of pressure. Manuel looking. He's it downfield, and it's going to be caught. What a catch by who else? Kevin Hollis at the 13-yard line. Tatum coach is looking for a holding call against the Buckeyes. I think they're pleading right now and begging more than anything else.
What can you say about a guy playing hurt that well? And Kevin Hollis catching it.
Oh, no, he's saying Kevin Hollis, he's not saying a holding, he's saying Kevin Hollis pushed off his Coach Evans. Officials aren't buying it, and they say, get over on the sideline, Coach. He's going to fool around and get an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty call because he's on the field right now. Manuel has the pressure, gets the pass off to Skinner. He's at the 10, the 5, touchdown Buckeyes, and the Buckeyes are back to 26-13 lead. Whoa.
This is a very exciting game.
Yes, it is.
And it's a lot better than watching a defensive struggle.
Yes, it is.
But I'm glad to be wrong about that.
I'm glad you are, too. Now, do we go for, I guess we're going to go for one. I was about to ask, do we go for one or do we go for two? And it looks like Manuel has recuperated very sufficiently.
He's probably functioning on adrenaline by this point.
I'm sure he is. I'm sure he is. We need this point after, guys. Here's the snap, the placement, the kick. This one is no good. Holy cow. And all of a sudden, Harborth is in a slump. 25-13 our score. The Buckeyes still lead it by 12. We'll take a quick timeout.
The Gilmer Mirror at 214 Marshall at the intersection of Highways 154 and 271 in Gilmer wishes the Gilmer Buckeyes the best of luck. The Gilmer Mirror has been bringing Upshur County citizens hometown news since 1877, making it Upshur County's oldest business institution. Be sure to see next Wednesday's edition of the Mirror for photos and a complete game summary of tonight's Gilmer Buckeye game. That's the Gilmer Mirror, proud to be a part of Gilmer and Upshur County.
Well, Russ, 4 touchdowns, but only 25 points, so we have missed 3 out of 4 extra point attempts, and that is totally uncharacteristic. You just got to hope that this Buckeye offense can keep pounding it in. You would hate to see the Buckeyes, the end of this game, end up losing by 3 points or less.
I think it's important also that to not give up too many more big plays to this Hodge-led offense.
Yes.
They've really been able to strike with big yardage, and we don't see that too often this year against this black defense.
No, you don't. But if you'll recall, Hodge did it last year. But as I recall...
Now they have Creer, who's also done it.
Right.
That's the problem. There's more than one threat to contain.
As I recall, and boy, Coach Evans still chewing on the ear of the officials, and the officials pointing back and saying, Coach, I don't want to hear anymore. He realistically very easily could have been called for unsportsmanlike conduct. He was all the way out to the numerals on the far sideline when the ball was snapped to Manuel on that touchdown.
I believe Evans is a native of Anahuac near Houston, and he came to Tatum from coaching at East Chambers.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess the guy named Steve Martell that was an assistant coach at Diboll during the year and a half or so I lived down there. Steve Martell went to Anahuac, and they hadn't made the playoffs in umpteen years, and he's taken them to the playoffs 2 years in a row. They didn't last very long this year, although I believe goodness.
Onside kick.
That's a botched kick.
No, it was a deliberate
kick.
I believe it was a deliberate onside
botched
kick.
Squib kick, and there's a flag.
15 got it for Tatum, but
yeah, Tatum got it.
I believe that was a planned onside kick.
I didn't mean to say botched. I meant to say squib kick attempt. They're going to say probably it was illegally touched by the Buckeyes. No, personal foul, Buckeyes. Oh, holy cow. Holy cow. That's going to be 15 yards on top of, though that attempt at the onside kick totally blows up in the Buckeyes' faces.
Well, 15 covered it. We don't have him on the roster for Tatum. But,
no, we don't.
It's hard to know why that was called.
Well, it had to be on the recovery. A Buckeye must have, in the officials' estimation, come in and speared number 15 when he recovered the ball. So that will set Tatum up just like that. And the problem is, Russ, every time Tatum scores, now, of course, they didn't make that last extra point, but those Buckeye missed extra points are looming extremely large here. Hodge on the keeper around the left side, and he's got some room, and he takes a hit after he gets down to the 30-yard line. Gain of 8, 2nd and 2.
Curtis Brown knocked him out of bounds, but he did turn that corner, as we know he will if he's given the opportunity.
Man, this is, I don't know if I can stand a second half as exciting as this first one. Fans definitely getting their money's worth.
That's what it's all about, though. It's like Coach Evans did say one thing that's correct. It's a great day for high school football.
Yes, it is. All right, Matt Hale will go wide to the right side. Under center again is Hodge. Handing off to Creer. He'll have the first down, still on his feet, and he is still running, and down to the 11-yard line. Oh, fumble, the Buckeyes say, but the officials say no. He was down by contact.
Jeremy Skinner was hanging on for dear life, but Creer has got power as well as speed.
Well, the scary thing here, if Tatum scores and gets the point after, they only trail by 5 points. And with the exception of about 3 big plays, the Buckeyes have just trounced them all over this field so far. Well, if this indeed is the game that determines the state championship, it's going to be a heck of a game all the way. Quarterback draw by Hodge, and he gets inside the 10 to the 8, gain of 3, 2nd and 7.
Terrell Waters, nice tackle there.
The Eagles can get a first down at the 1, so you don't want to let them have the first down. In fact, they move it almost to the 8. Hodge back in the shotgun formation down here near the goal line. 6:42 and counting left in the first half. Hodge is going on the alley-oop, and that one incomplete.
Yeah, Curtis Brown had good coverage.
Matt Hale, intended receiver. 3rd down and 8. And it looked like Hale had the position that time on the Buckeye defender, Russ, but just Hodge's pass looked like maybe it sailed out of his hand a little bit, or out of his arm a little bit more than what he wanted it to. Hale again wide to the left side. Shotgun formation again by the Eagles. Hodge will keep it to the right side, and he won't have the first down. He's down at the 5.5-yard line.
Jules Johnson broke that up, and also Chaz Kuakai got in there also, but Jules Johnson made good penetration.
Well, you know Tatum's not going to go for a field goal. They want to try to cut this lead, so they're going to go for the first down.
Big play here.
4th down and 4, and timeout called by the Eagles. They want to think about it. We'll take the timeout with them.
The logo at 118 Davis Street on the west side of the square in Gilmer is your one-stop location for team sports apparel. The logo has T-shirts for all area schools, as well as college and professional teams. And they can customize any shirt or jacket they sell to meet your needs. And if you haven't heard, Bob and Chris Holloway have turned the business over to their daughter Terry and her husband David Ross. So stop by today and check out their complete selection. That's the logo, 118 Davis Street on the west side of the square in Gilmer. They proudly back the Gilmer Buckeyes.
Well, Russ, I think you have to say, if Tatum was in 2A, they would be the 2A state champions for sure.
No question, but you notice Salina went down to 2A, and they are 13-0. So Tatum would probably be facing Salina around this time.
Well, that would be a ball game and a half, too.
Well, I think Tatum would easily take Salina.
Well, I think so, too, from what I've seen here today. Well, needless to say, this is the biggest play of the game thus far, as Tatum has decided on 4th and 4 to go for it. This would be a huge lift to the Buckeyes if they can hold Tatum out of the end zone. Coach Jeff Traylor talking to the official, wanting to know something here. And he's asking the official to go check with one of the other officials about something. I don't know what this could be about. 6:09 left in the quarter. And whatever it is Coach Traylor wanted, he didn't get the answer he wanted as he slung his cap over on the sideline. I think maybe he was saying that Tatum had 12 men out on the field in the huddle again. 4th and 4, biggest play of the game thus far. Hodge, he's going to go for the end zone. Now he goes for the quarterback draw. Now he's looking, has nobody to throw to, and he will not. He's got away again, and there's a flag for holding. This isn't going to matter no matter what he does, and he's dead in the water at the 8-yard line. Buckeyes hold.
Chaz Kuakai finally brought him down, but like you say, there's a penalty anyway.
It wouldn't have mattered if he'd thrown it into the end zone, because there was a holding against the Tatum Eagles. Buckeyes take over on downs.
Very demoralizing series, circumstance for Tatum, because you know had they scored that time, the momentum would have been clearly on their side.
Absolutely. Well, you know, the thing that surprises me, why did they not, we know Vasquez is a good kicker, why did they not, although he missed that extra point too?
Well, they just didn't think that Gilmer could stop him, I guess. And Gilmer has not been able to, but until that series.
Well, 25-16 is down to 9 points, though. I mean, I can't imagine Coach Evans not going for the field goal. I mean, if it was 4th and 1, I'd understand, but 4th and 4? Well, we'll talk about that for a while.
Hindsight is 20/20.
Timeout called by the Tatum Eagles with 5:54 left. Man. Well, what we'll probably do at halftime, while the Tatum band is on the field, we're going to invite former Pine Tree and Spring Hill coach Maurice Cook in for just a quick visit. And just out of curiosity, Troy, since we're not going to be able to move the camera over, I don't think where we can get Coach Cook in very easily, are we? Maybe? Okay. I'd like to get him on camera if we can, but I don't know if that's a possibility or not. And if it isn't, certainly we don't want to, create any problem for the cables. Yeah, Russ, I'll tell you what. You'd like to see the Buckeyes here get on about a 93-yard drive and use up most of the rest of this first half of play and score again.
I think going back to that previous decision, I think that 25-20 was what that coach wanted, not 25-16, and he felt like he was on the verge of that.
Well, he was on the verge of it. There's no doubt about that. Lovely back in the backfield. We'll have 2 receivers left, 2 receivers right. Manuel Johnson comes up, calls the play to the offensive line. The Buckeye Stars in cheerleader colors, red and green today. Manuel on the quarterback draw has a hole. Up to the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Manuel Johnson will take it the distance, I believe. No, he's running out of gas. He may be stopped. No, he won't be. Touchdown Buckeyes, and Manuel Johnson goes 93 yards just like that on his own.
Woo.
No flags. Touchdown Buckeyes, and it's 31-13. Wow.
Oh, I think maybe we have gotten accustomed to him being hurt and maybe think he's not at his full potential. And I believe maybe, but wow. That's his longest run of his career, I believe.
Yes, it is. Well, they haven't even put, they say he went out of bounds at the 5-yard line. I was going to say they haven't even put the score up, what's going on, but they said he stepped out at the 5.
Still probably the longest run of his career.
Well, let's see. That would have been 97 yards, so it's 92. First and goal from the 5. I guess when that Tatum defender tried to get him, he just forced him out of bounds, and this is doomed back at the 9. Loss of 4, second and goal.
Didn't he start at the 7?
Yeah.
So he went from the 7 to their
5. Seven would be 93. Yeah, you're right. That's 88 yards. I can't even count. I'm so wound up in this ball.
It's still, no doubt, the longest run of his career.
Oh, yeah. Well, now the Buckeyes have kind of put themselves in a bind with a 4-yard loss. That time, the sweep to Tennyson didn't work. Lovely in the backfield. Manuel gives it to Tennyson again. No, he doesn't. He throws it to Lovely, who is going to be down at about the 2. And now we're at 3rd and goal. I'll tell you, the way the kicking game's gone, Russ, I think you need to just go for it here on 4th down if you don't get it in on 3rd.
Lovely almost broke free of Gabe Walker, but it's down at the 2, I believe. Yeah, you want to go ahead and take this into the end zone.
Well, I think you don't even want to think about kicking because we've already missed 2 extra points at point-blank range.
I don't fault the Tatum decision a while ago not to kick a field goal.
Well, I do. I won't if the Buckeyes don't score here, but I do still at this point. Manuel, looking, has his man, touchdown to Willie Darden, and that is what we needed, 31-13 our score. No flags.
And still 4 minutes, more than 4 minutes, 9 seconds, 31 points. Have we ever scored this many points at this point in the game?
I don't think so.
Maybe the Paris game is as
I don't
close.
think, wasn't it? Didn't we talk about that and decide it was 28-0, or was it 35-0 at the half?
Paris had 3 at the half, and we had like 30.
Yeah, I think it was 32.
So.
Yeah. So if Cabrera can make this point after, and Cabrera is in to attempt the point after now, going to make a little bit of change, low snap, but that one's good. And our score, the Buckeyes have broken the jinx on the extra point, finally make another extra point. Our score, the Gilmer Buckeyes 32 and the Tatum Eagles 13 with 4:09 left here in the first half of play. Well, let's see. The most points we gave up, wasn't it 26 to Paris? We've talked about that.
No, we
before.
gave up 16 to Paris.
I mean, 16, yeah.
Gave up 20 to Dangerfield.
20 to Dangerfield.
All right. Gilmer beat Pine Tree 48-7. Jefferson 28-0. Lindale 35-6. Paris 62-16. Pleasant Grove 20-7. Dangerfield 36-20. Sabine 52-0. Mineola 42-8. Gladewater 42-0. Pittsburgh 22-18. And in the playoffs, Pleasant Grove 43-6. Spring Hill 28-11. And Dallas Madison 45-21. So Dallas Madison holds the record right now.
Okay, and in case you're wondering, no, Russ does not have a photostatic memory. He's cheating over there with the paper. I couldn't let you have that much credit, Russ. Oh. Well, that one was big, Russ. That score, when the Buckeyes held Tatum out, you got to say that was a 14-point swing like it was earlier when the Buckeyes couldn't get in at the 2, and then Tatum came right back and scored. So we got the 14-point swing back, and we're back to where we really probably should have been all along. A 19-point lead for the Buckeyes. And now this game is beginning to look a little bit more like what it should, the way the Buckeyes have run all over the Eagles except for about 3 or 4 big plays. This time they will kick it away. It'll be taken at the 10-yard line. And boom, killed immediately at the 15, 16-yard line is number 22, and that is Taurine Stoker.
Jeremy Skinner got there first, but Terrence Lovely might have inflicted even more pain.
Well, now you'd like to see the Black Flag defense step it up and shut down Tatum's offense. And I know, just like Madison last week, but I'm afraid I've got some bad news, and you're already going to know it by the time you see this. Somehow or another, and we've never had this happen before, normally when the tape shuts off, our unit shuts down, and we have silence. And in fact, I think I know when it was. You remember I said something about what happened? I can't hear anything. But it only happened for a second and a half. We have just realized that we did not even get all of the halftime, or rather all of the first half on. We missed the last Tatum score. We missed the entire halftime performance. Our apologies, because it was an absolutely wonderful halftime performance. Our apologies to the Gilmer Buckeye Band, cheerleaders, majorettes, Stars Drill Team, and all the fans. It was an absolutely beautiful halftime performance. If you weren't at the game, we're terribly sorry. Hopefully, we'll go on and pull this game out and won't let it happen again. Okay, it's 32-20 at the half, by the way. Just about ready to start the third quarter. Joining us now, Philip Williams for halftime stats.
Well, Elwood, I think everyone understands that human error happens, and that I think you will be forgiven for the problems that happened here today. You've done an excellent job this year, all of you have. As the Buckeyes charge back onto the field, these statistics are absolutely mind-numbing. Manuel Johnson in the first half is 14 for 15 for 4 touchdowns and 239 yards. This is in the first half against the number 2 ranked defense, next only to the Black Flag, in Class 3A. You would never think Tatum had the number 2 defense. The problem for the Tatum Eagles today, Owen, in my opinion, is Tatum has the offense to win this game. It does not have the defense.
Right.
It simply can't stop Gilmer. The Buckeyes haven't punted all day. Tatum, well, I'm sorry, Gilmer has punted only once. Tatum hasn't punted at all. But Hodge is having a pretty good day himself, Stephen Hodge. Now, Hodge has completed 5 of 9 for 92 yards in the first half, which isn't too bad, but it's nothing compared to what Manuel Johnson's been flying in the friendly skies, too. Hodge has run 9 times for 92 yards, and again, this backpedaling he does is like trying to catch an apparition, as I wrote in the Gilmer Mirror this week. He is phenomenal. Lennon Creer has 6 carries for 93 yards for Tatum. Manuel has scored 1 on the ground in addition to his 4 touchdown passes. He's 8 for 95, and Pretty good day for J.T. Tennyson, land-lubbing, 5 carries. They all went for 71 yards. Let's get to the team statistics. Folks, these are first-half stats you're going to hear. 16-8 in first downs. Gilmer leads. 174 for the Buckeyes on the ground, 187 for the Eagles. Gilmer 239 passing, 92 for Tatum. That's 413 for Gilmer to 279 Tatum. Manuel Johnson, as I said, 14 for 15. Stephen Hodge, 5 for 9. No interceptions. 1 punt, that by Gilmer for 31 yards. 1 fumble loss, that was by Tatum. Gilmer 1 for 15 in penalties. Tatum 1 for 5. I think Gilmer's going to go ahead and win the game, and hope I'm right. Good to be with you today, Elwin.
You bet. Thanks a lot, Philip. And here is the second half kickoff, and thanks again for coming down again, Philip. And it will be Spruill at the 10-yard line, and he's coming up the middle across the 25 to the 30, 1st and 10 Tatum from that spot. And Russ will be joining us again pretty quickly. Looked like Jake Holliday, one of the first ones to get up off of that special teams tackle. He'll throw the football back to the official. And again, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think there's anyone who feels any worse right now than myself. I remember remarking, hearing a little bit of dead air and asking what happened, and never even dawned on us that we might be out of tape, and that's what happened. So we missed the last Tatum touchdown. We missed the entire Buckeye band drill team performance. Here goes Hodge on the keeper, and he'll gain a yard to the 31, 2nd and 9. I can't apologize enough. That, Russ, the most disappointing thing to me, that is probably one of the most wonderful halftime performances I've ever seen by the Stars drill team.
Yeah, it really was. We also missed your interview, I guess, with
yeah, we did. We're going to have to
Cook.
get Coach Cook back in here if we get the opportunity for that a little bit later. What I might do, Russ, is let you interview him while I go down after the game. Would you mind doing that?
You better just do that and do it all.
Oh, that one's tipped and then falls.
Jake Holliday nearly got the interception on that.
3rd and 9.
No, you know so much more about Coach Cook's career than I do. I just know the general, just the highlights of it. I think you should do the whole interview over with him.
Well,
at some future date.
If we could get him back in here at some point, maybe after the 3rd quarter, for 5 minutes or so. I hate to tell him we missed it all, but I'll tell you what, I'm almost right now, Russ, I'm almost down as much as if we had lost this ball game. I'm very disappointed that things occurred like that. Big play, and here goes Hodge, and he still gets free and will not get the first down, but picks up 4 yards almost to the, or 3 yards to the 34. That'll bring up 4th and 7.
Yeah, the good job there, Chaz Kuakai, Daniel Dodd, Jake Holliday. He kind of slipped out of Roderick McKnight's grasp there, but man, you got just so many pursuers that not even Hodge can get away from them all.
Well, the good news is it was a 3 and out, just what the Buckeyes needed to have happen. The bad news, if you're a Tatum Eagle, is you just gave up what momentum you got. Now, the good news for the Buckeyes is they have a chance to get that touchdown back that they gave up right before the half, before Tatum can do any more damage. Here's the snap. Hodge the kick. It's short, but it's going to take a Tatum roll and go inside the 20 to the 19. 19 and a half, they'll mark it.
24.
Oh, excuse me.
Nearly to 25, I believe, where they're going to mark it.
Yeah, they are going to put it on the 25. I am just still in shock, I guess is the best way to put it, Russ. And again, you will have heard when I made a comment about what happened, we lost our audio for a second, and that is when we ran out of tape, unfortunately. So we did not get that last Tatum score on, and our sincere apologies. 1st and 10 for the Buckeyes from the 25. Manuel Johnson sends JT in motion. JT will get it on the end around. This time Tatum there and ready for it, but JC breaks free and will get, holy cow, still on his feet, and will get a yard. And he felt like, I'm sure, that he earned about 25 on that one.
Stephon Spruill finally made the tackle, but J.T. Tennyson had slipped about 5 tackles by then.
And they have turned on the lights here at Homer Bryce Stadium.
He made 1 yard out of all that.
On the SFA campus. Yeah, and it's just a miracle he got that, just sheer determination. All right, Hollis will go wide to the left side. Tennyson slot left. It'll be Bowser and Darden wide and slot right. Now Tennyson in motion again. Manuel fakes the handoff. Going downtown for Bowser. He's got him again. If he can get there, he's got it. Touchdown, Buckeyes.
That's 2 for Bowser today.
That makes it 38-20. And the Buckeyes get it back just like that.
Yeah, I hope Mississippi State head coach Sylvester Croom is here to see that.
Well, I don't see anyone down on the sidelines that
He could be just a normal citizen today, for all we know.
Oh, I can't imagine if he were here that he wouldn't be down on the sidelines.
Well, he's gonna see video of it.
He will.
No doubt about that.
He will really be licking his chops. So the Buckeyes get it back. No damage done now after that touchdown right before the half by Tatum. 38-20.
74 yards.
Point after attempt to come by Gerardo Cabrera. Snap, placement, kick, good. And our score, the Gilmer Buckeyes, 39. And the Tatum Eagles, 20. Back to a 19-point lead. We'll take a quick commercial timeout. Gilmer National Bank proudly invites you to stop by their location at 900 North Wood Street in Gilmer today. You'll love the easy access into and out of the bank on Highway 271. Gilmer National features an international ATM machine that accepts all ATM and credit cards. You can also take advantage of their 24-hour telebank service that allows you to make numerous transactions by phone 24 hours a day. And check out their online internet banking site at www.gnbgilmer.com. Stop by today and you'll say, Gilmer National, that's my bank. Okay, we had just an absolutely great and enjoyable opportunity to interview former Pine Tree and Spring Hill head football coach Maurice Cook, the father of First Baptist pastor Michael Cook. And unfortunately, we didn't get that on either. And we're going to try, if we have the opportunity, to get Coach Cook back in here today. If not, Coach Cook, once we handle the Tatum Eagles, we want to have you on at halftime next week, wherever we play. I'm sure he'll be going, Russ.
Probably going to be a long way out there, though, wherever it is.
Yeah, it is.
We're hoping it will be no farther than Fort Worth, but it could be farther than that.
Well, we saw Abilene potentially discussed. And here's Spruill again at the 16-yard line. And a great open field tackle at the 19.
Jeremy Skinner. That's just excellent.
Man, Spruill didn't even feel him coming either. Maybe we can get Coach Cooks, if he's willing to come give it up between the third and fourth quarters, get an opportunity to talk to him between the quarters there. That'll be a very short situation, but I hate that. That probably is one of the most enjoyable interviews I've ever had the opportunity to do, and did that with him in 1991 when he went with Ronnie Morrison and I up to the Gilmer-Forney Jackrabbit game. And he was tons of fun to work with then. All right, Hodge faking the draw, rolling to his right, and he is going to be getting the pass off complete. Wow, just shows the athletic ability to number 82, Xavier Banda, the tight end. And now we got a flag, and that may be on the Tatum coaches for getting on the side, off the sidelines. I don't know that it is, but it could well be, because they are saying something to one of the Tatum coaches. They're shaking their heads, are the Tatum coaches. Unsportsmanlike conduct, Tatum. And that's it. The coaches got onto the field, and we're not. I told you earlier, remember, Russ, that at one point Coach Evans had gotten, as the Buckeyes were on a play that they scored on, that it could have easily, it looked like, been an unsportsmanlike conduct. Well, I'm sure that's what Coach Jeff Traylor told the officials. Watch them over there, and they got caught that time.
Terrell Waters was hanging all over Hodge. Hodge did get the pass off, but all for naught now. It was a completed pass for a few yards.
Yeah, 4-yard gain to Banda, but following the unsportsmanlike conduct, that moves it back to the 12, 2nd and 18. Now 17, actually. Quarterback draw by Hodge. He's got some room, and he'll be dropped at the 18-yard line. Gain of 6, 3rd down and 11.
Tried to run over Daniel Dodd, but nobody runs over Daniel Dodd.
Yeah, not even Stephen Hodge is going to run over Daniel Dodd. 8:30 and counting left here in the third quarter. Buckeyes have it back up to a 19-point lead. And I'm sure Tatum thought when they got back to within 12, they were going to come out, score the first possession in the third quarter, take it to us, but the Buckeyes held 3 and out and then got the ball back, scored themselves. Here comes Hodge again. The pass is incomplete. Intended for number 8, Hale, 3 and out. And Tatum will kick it away again as Hodge will stay in, and the Buckeyes rush, barring just a tremendous bounce, should get excellent field position. 4th and 11, 8:07 left in the third quarter, 39-20 the score.
Tatum's got to score at some point because Gilmer's scoring on every possession, and they're just going to get further behind.
We've had one possession we didn't score on with the missed field goal, one where we had to punt. We've scored on every other possession in this ball game. Holy cow, a high snap to Hodge. Manuel just says, get away, get away, get away, and it's going to go take another major bounce for Tatum, and then we'll roll dead at the 34-yard line. So Hodge is really getting the benefit of the bounce, Russ. One thing Coach Maurice Cook told us in the now non-existent halftime interview was that he guessed if he was the Buckeyes coaching staff, he would want to say, let's go into ball control offense, but he said that would be like telling your team not to score. You know you're not going to do that.
And Manuel Johnson just showed his arm is back in shape with that pass to Bowser.
He did. All right, 1st and 10 from the 34.5. Johnson looking, has his man Tennyson, goes through his arms at what would have been a 10-yard gain up at the 44, 2nd and 10.
Maybe he's got a little sidearm motion that's not normally there.
I think he does.
So he's favoring it a bit, but he still throws better injured than most quarterbacks do healthy.
Oh, something else that I meant to mention. We'll see if we see him. Number 3, Lennon Creer. Your Aunt Mary Kirby, Russ, told me that one of the Tatum assistants told her that Creer had gotten a severely sprained ankle right before the half. So we'll see if that affects him. If he doesn't come back in, that really is going to give the Buckeyes an advantage. And here goes the blitz, and Manuel, forced to go on the quarterback draw, gets back to the line of scrimmage as the protection broke down, and it's 3rd and 10.
That was number 99, Tyrone Bradley. Good pass rush that time.
Boy.
Well, it really wasn't a pass, it's designed run, but he was right there to stop it up.
Well, I think Manuel was going to run that. I think he had to.
Saying.
I think he had to run once the protection broke down, because he saw one of the Tatum Eagle defenders heading right straight toward him, and he'd have been dropped for about a 5-yard loss had he not gone on and taken off on the quarterback draw. Manuel Johnson says, hurry it up, and Coach Traylor says, we can't. We'll take a timeout. We'll take it with him.
Dallas Chevrolet was established in 1966 and continues to be a family-owned and operated company. We take great pride in supporting the Gilmer Buckeyes and our community. Drop by anytime and let Richard, Jay, or Roy buy you a cup of coffee or show you a new Chevrolet or Oldsmobile. We've got a full line of Chevrolets for you to choose from Malibus to minivans, Suburbans, trucks, 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, you name it, we've got it. But you may like what we don't have. We don't have high-pressure sales. We treat each and every customer the way we ourselves would like to be treated. Plus, bring in any advertised price, and we'll do our best to beat it. You can also visit us online at Gazelle.com. Gazelle Chevrolet Oldsmobile, proudly supporting Gilmer and the Gilmer High Buckeyes.
All right, resuming play. Tatum has gone 3 and out twice here in the second half. The Buckeyes did score on their first possession, but now they're in danger of going 3 and out themselves. 7-11 left here in the third quarter. Buckeyes lead at 39-20. And Manuel gets the play, checks it on his wristband. We're down to 10 seconds. The Buckeyes using a lot of time once again. Manuel on the rollout, looking downtown, has the pass complete to Bowser, midfield, first down. Boy, don't you know Mississippi State can hardly wait to get him next year.
No question about it. And Gilmer's going to really regret losing him.
Yes, they are. Well, again, we talked about nobody expected the Buckeyes to make it this far this year. It will take nothing short of a miracle near parting of the Red Seas for them to get this far next year with everything they lose again this year. And it is lovely up the middle. He'll go to the 47-yard line, gain of 3, 2nd and 7.
Tatum has done a better job of stopping Lovely this week than Dallas Madison did.
Yes, they have. They definitely have. All right, 2nd and 7. And for whatever reason, the Buckeyes seem to be really slow getting plays in here in the second half. Manuel finally gets it straightened out. We're down to 6, 5, 4, 3 it's snapped on. Manuel quarterback draw, and that was the designed quarterback draw, and he slips at the 46-yard line. That turf, Russ, must be a little bit slick, because obviously the shoulder has nothing to do with slipping on the turf, and we've seen Manuel slip about 3 times out there.
He's trying to make a cut.
Yeah.
And just didn't get good traction on it.
Yeah, for some reason or another, it doesn't seem to have the traction. Obviously, it affects the running of the receivers very little, though, because they're not making a lot of cuts. Buckeye just going straight down the field with those receivers. Bowser now will go wide to the left side. And now it's Jeremy Skinner in the backfield to block for Johnson. Here they come. Here's the pass for JT. He's got it. 30, 25, 20, and down to the 18-yard line, 1st and 10.
It's got to be frustrating if you're a Tatum Eagle defender. You think stop up Lovely once.
Yep.
Stop up somebody else another time, and then they hit you with that 30-yard pass.
Well, number 4, Keenan Bush, the linebacker, just put his hands on his hips, and you can see him shaking his head.
From the 44 down to the 18. 26 yards.
And Manuel looking for the play once again. This time we're going to have 4 receivers to the right side. Manuel's going to be out there by himself. Now Darden will come in motion. So there'll be 3 receivers right, 2 left. Manuel's still out there on his own. The hitch to Hollis. He's at the 15, 10, down to the 5, 1st and goal.
Just domination so far in the second half.
Man,
Gilmer offense.
You're not kidding. And I'll tell you what, if we can push this thing in and go to 45-20, I think even Stephen Hodge can't come back 25 points in less than a quarter.
I'll stay with what I said in the first half. I think you got to have about a 50-point lead, even with a quarter and a half to go, to feel safe.
50 points, huh? That's not saying a whole lot for our black flag defense.
Well, I'm saying a lot for Hodge.
No, I know. 1st and goal from the 5. Manuel looking, throws it, touchdown, Kuakai.
And he threw that off balance, and
yes,
yet still threw a perfect strike.
And our score now, the Gilmer Buckeyes 45, the Tatum Eagles 20 with 4:32 left in the 3rd quarter.
Okay, I'll compromise with you. If we get ahead by 1 more touchdown,
I thought you were going to say 1 more point.
I'll say that's a commanding lead, but still,
there's a lot of time.
Yeah, 26 points. With the extra point, still not safe.
4:32 left in the 3rd quarter. Buckeyes lead it 45-20, trying to make it 46-20. Here's the snap, the placement, the kick. It's good. And our score, the Gilmer Buckeyes 46, the Tatum Eagles 20. We'll take another quick timeout.
The darn dogs are in the neighbor's trash again. The cows are in the neighbor's barn again. Please call Lee Tillman Fence and Construction. He specializes in chain link, farm, wood privacy fences, and wood decks. Also, he has a 30-year warranty, residential or commercial, serving all East Texas, fully insured since 1979 with over 25 years experience. You know you're getting the best price in town. Free estimates, financing available. That's Lee Tillman Fence and Construction, Gilmer, Texas, 903-734-5325. Give him a call today.
Well, it was 32-20 at the half, and now it's 46-20 with almost 2/3 of the third quarter expired.
It's do or die time for Tatum.
Yeah.
They've gone their first 2 possessions without scoring. If they go 3, they might as well throw in the towel.
Well, this literally, even though it's football, could be 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out in the second half. Well, Buckeye fans, I'm sure as I am, breathing a little bit easier now. And if the Buckeyes hold on and win here, they're going to be the odds-on favorite to win the Division II state championship. Spruill catches it at the 25 and down at the 31-yard line. 1st and 10, Tatum from there.
Tackled by J.T. Tennyson. Tatum's had pretty good field position overall.
Yeah, they have. They definitely have.
And they're within 1 point of matching Dallas Madison, but so far Dallas Madison still has the distinction of having scored the most points.
Yep. Well, even if Tatum scores again, and I think they very probably may, but even if Tatum scores again, and look, there comes Creer, and he is hobbling. You can see a tremendous amount of tape on that right ankle, and he is hobbling out. I think he's going to be not a whole lot of a factor the rest of the way, other than maybe a blocking back. And now he'll go in motion, limping. Hodge looking, completes the pass to Hale, and he will be dropped after a 3-yard gain up at the 34-yard line. Well, actually, looks like they're going to mark it at the 33 for a 2-yard gain, 2nd and 8.
Terrence Lovely was out there to knock him out of bounds. Good play.
Clouds thickening more and more from the south. That's where this is all supposed to come from. And in the far horizon in the south, you can see dark blue, Russ, over there in the background.
Clouds are descending upon the Tatum season at this point.
Yeah, they'll be playing round ball next week, it looks like. Hodge on the roller, and he's dead for a loss back to the original line of scrimmage. 3rd and 10.
Michael Horton right there to stop him dead in his tracks.
Well, basically, Creer is nothing at this point but a decoy. As that ankle injury, obviously, you can see him.
So he's an eagle with clipped wings.
Yeah. He's jogging off now, and number 2, T.O. Freeney will come in as a wide receiver. Also, number 11, Sheldon Stoker. And we got a flag, as they had 12 men that time. Illegal substitution for the 2nd time today on the Tatum Eagles.
What's kind of strange to me, I'm seeing it through the binoculars. You may not be able to see it.
No.
But the jerseys, the color green on the jerseys doesn't quite match the pants on
You know,
Tatum.
now that you say that, I see that.
It's just kind of funny.
It's a little, you're right. It's like a tone different.
They have a stripe up the side, kind of like Gilmer does, up the jersey that does match the pants.
Well, that's weird.
So that's what you get to focusing on trivia like that when you get so far ahead.
3rd and 15. Well, let's be glad we can talk about trivia. Hodge dropping back to pass. He is, breaks out, tosses a pass up that is going to be caught. And very seldom you see it happen. Jeremy Skinner got turned around, and he will not catch number 11. Oh, my goodness.
That's Stoker.
Sheldon Stoker for the touchdown, and it's 46-26. And just like that, Tatum back in it. Jeremy Skinner is always right there, and somehow or another, Skinner just totally got turned around that time.
Well, the problem was it was just lofted up. It was a terrible pass.
That was.
It was just lofted up like a wounded duck, and the receiver came back for it.
Man. Well, you may be right, Russ. No lead safe.
Yeah, Tatum had to score on that possession,
They
or they would be shooting the hoops, at least in their minds anyway.
And
already.
Vasquez to attempt the point after. They are going for 1 to make it 46-27, which would be a 19-point game. And that is good. And score now, the Gilmer Buckeyes 46, the Tatum Eagles 27, and that is officially the most points the Buckeyes have given up this season. We'll take another quick timeout.
E-Tex Telephone Cooperative is your hometown community partner, providing service to Upshur and the surrounding areas. The success of the local network over the years has made it possible to bring the most advanced technology to our area. E-Tex now brings the same friendly hometown service to Gilmer. Internet access and long-distance service is now available to everyone in Gilmer. E-Tex looks forward to providing your telecommunications needs. Call our office at 903-797-2711 and ask a friendly customer service representative how E-Tex can serve your telecommunications needs. E-Tex, your local hometown partner, backs the Buckeyes.
Well, if you joined us late and missed the pregame interview with Coach Jeff Traylor, he said in Jacksonville he went to the fourth round, 3 times. They never won it under Coach Danny Long. He went to the fourth round last year as the head coach of the Gilmer Buckeyes, lost to Atlanta, didn't win. He said this was his 5th time to make it to the fourth round, and he'd never made it past. Well, you know the old saying, 3rd time's charm? Well, it looks like the 5th time is going to be for Coach Jeff Traylor, provided the Buckeyes can keep the momentum. It's now a 19-point lead.
So far, though, Gilmer has 2 scores to Tatum's 1 in this half, and that's got to be a favorable trend that we'd like to see continue.
Well, in the now famous Watergate interview that we didn't have, Coach Maurice Cook said he thought Gilmer would be more of the same in the second half.
He was right.
Yes, so far. Tatum squibs it again, and that's going out of bounds. So the Buckeyes will take it right there. Vasquez just got into that with his foot a little too much. They called offsides against the Tatum Eagles. Declined. Buckeyes take it right where it goes out of bounds. 40-yard line, 1st and 10. .234 left in the third quarter. Let's see if the Buckeyes can get this touchdown back, as we know they'd like to do. And by the way, something I didn't mention, Coach Jeff Traylor went up to Jeremy Skinner, and they mark it officially at the 39. After that last touchdown, as Skinner was coming off the field, somewhat dejected because Jeremy Skinner's such a competitor, Coach Traylor patted him on the helmet, and I'm sure, Russ, exactly what you said. That was luck. It was a dying quail. Here goes the pass. Oh, and that's pass interference, and there goes the flag. Coach Traylor running out on the sideline saying, you got to throw it. He didn't think it was going to be thrown. And it was, as literally Hollis was nearly knocked down by the defender. 1st and 10 at midfield. And there's no doubt, Russ, the angle that Hollis had, if he hadn't been knocked down nearly or bumped into viciously, let's say, he would have gone a ways after he caught that pass because he had an angle and a full head of steam. 1st and 10 at midfield for the Buckeyes. Manuel dropping back, gets a big rush, throws the screen off. Oh, and it's incomplete. And if that one is completed to Lovely, he cruises. Coach Jeff Traylor knew it, but Russ, a tremendous rush on the blitz by the Eagles that time. 2nd and 10.
The Eagles' defense has not given up anywhere near this kind of points, though, in a game. I think that game with Palestine is maybe the only one.
Yeah, that was 27, wasn't it, in overtime?
Yeah. Well, they gave up 21 to center. That's the only other one where they gave up more than 20.
Wow. All right, Manuel gets everybody adjusted. Willie Darden goes in motion. Look out, Manuel is in trouble. Man, the offensive line just fell apart that time.
It's number 5, Montgomery, Jake Montgomery, who made a pretty good sack there.
Manuel's had a lot of time most of the day, but again, that now unheard interview with Coach Maurice Cook, he said that if he was Tatum coach Tony Evans, that he would increase the pressure on Manuel Johnson, and Tatum has done that here in the second half.
Well, Tony Evans is a preacher over in Dallas.
Oh,
but Andy Evans
Let's try that again. Thank you. 3rd down and 11. Manuel dropping back. Here's the screen to Hollis, and he's got some room, but won't get the first down as he'll be dropped at the 42. That'll bring down a fourth down and 2. And I don't know. I think you might want to go for it here, Russ.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, 42, sure.
It's going to be about 4th and 2.5. Kevin Hollis thinking he should have gotten the first down, but that was just excellent defensive coverage. Hollis comes out. Jules Johnson comes in. Lovely. We're down to 18 seconds. The Buckeyes are going to have to take a timeout here if they don't hurry up and get the play squared away. Dodd and Kuakai are in. 9 seconds. He gets them lined up. 7, 6, 4th and 2. Buckeyes would love to get this first down here. Dropping back to pass. The pass is intercepted almost with a great breakup. Intended for Lovely.
But that's as good as an interception because the ball goes over.
Yes, it is.
Bush broke it up.
But I totally agree. You go for that one.
Yeah.
Because that's the dagger that would totally. So, anybody who would say, why did we go for that?
Well, you got to look at it this way.
That was a great defensive play.
If you punt it and it goes into the end zone, as odds are it might have.
Yeah, it's only a 22-yard net.
22 yards anyway.
47 seconds left in the third quarter. 46-27 the score.
Okay, now the shoe's on the other foot. I said last time Tatum absolutely had to score. I think this time the pressure's a little bit off Tatum, and Gilmer has to step up to the plate.
Yeah, they do. Hodge out of the shotgun. Oh, and there's holding by number 70 of the offense, and they saw it.
They got it.
This is coming back.
And Hale just made a good block there.
Yeah, he did.
Hale's block was legal, apparently, but the first one was not.
No, that's coming back.
Oh,
look at Coach Jeff Traylor. He's helping the officials out.
And I still don't understand how you can get that far out on the field if you're a Tatum coach.
Don't tell me they didn't call the holding call. Yeah. Holding, Tatum. Cost him 10. Negates what would have been almost first down. Moves the ball back to the 32, and that'll bring up 1st and 20 with 38 seconds left in the third quarter. Yeah, number 70 literally hog-tied the Buckeye defender. And it's obvious if you can see Jersey from up here. And you could see a handful of Jersey. Hodge rolling again. And that pass is dropped. Holy Toledo.
And I think Hale thought it was meant for him, too, and it skipped over him, and then 20 nearly got it.
Number 20, Gabe Walker, was the intended receiver, and he dropped a first down pass. That would have put the ball at the Buckeye 48 with 30 seconds left in the third quarter.
I think maybe Hale going for the ball obscured the vision of 20.
I think Walker, number 20, knew he was going to the end zone and forgot to wrap the ball up. That's what I think happened, more than Hale obstructing his vision.
Well, the Tatum offensive line has obviously gone to every all-you-can-eat buffet they can take advantage of.
Oh, man, I'm telling you. Those guys probably frequent some of the places I go. 2nd down and 20 from the Tatum 32. 30 seconds left in the third quarter. Buckeyes lead at 46-27. Here goes Hodge, and that's not going to do much as he's up to the 34. Gain of 2. 3rd and 18.
Daniel Dodd, another stellar play.
Mario Venters looks a little bit shaken up. And he's decided he needs to come off.
That's going to be probably the last play of the third quarter.
Bernardo Ibarra will take his place. Yeah, that will be the end of the third quarter. And we'll see, possibly. Well, I don't know if Coach Cook is going to look this way or not. I was going to say we'll see if maybe we can get him back in here for a minute. We'd really like to talk to him a little bit about this game if we can. That is the end of the third quarter. All the Tatum players and fans putting the 4 up. Fourth quarter is what they're saying. And at the end of 3, it's the Gilmer Buckeyes 46, the Tatum Eagles 27. And I got Coach Cook's attention, Russ. We'll see if we can get him back in here and at least explain to him what happened, and maybe talk to him a little bit now about everything. He's going to come back in, and Coach Maurice Cook is rejoining us. And Coach, as you're coming down, I know you're wondering what in the world do they want me back for. we ran out of tape without realizing it and missed your entire interview. So I'd like to at least go over some of that. Obviously, some of it may be a moot point at this stage of the game, but I did not want to let the opportunity. I assume you're going to be following the Buckeyes next week again.
Oh, yes.
Let me just say right now, we'd like to have you at halftime next week because I firmly believe we're going to go there. One of the things I mentioned to you as I said a while ago, missing Watergate tape that nobody will get to see was the fact of what was going to happen in this second half, and you told me you thought it was going to be more of the same for the Gilmer Buckeyes, and obviously it has been.
Yes.
All right, resuming play here. Tatum on a 3rd down and 18. That pass is tipped by Jules Johnson, and it'll bring up 4th and 18.
That one was almost picked off to go in the end zone right there.
Well, we talked about what an exciting game it was, number 1 defense, number 2 defense, and it was 32-20 at the half. Tatum had gotten momentum. We talked about that, how critical that beginning of the 3rd quarter was. The Gilmer Buckeye black flag defense stepped it up 3 and out. Then, of course, Gilmer came back and scored. And honestly, that lame duck pass that Hodge threw, just a lucky catch. Jeremy Skinner is always on top of it, but that allowed them at least for the short term, after the Buckeyes had built up the 46-20 lead, to make it an interesting situation with 19-point deficit. But the Buckeyes just appeared too offensively powered, just like you said, Coach.
Well, at this point, they have not slowed them down much. And we talked at the half about we might see more blitzes and pressure from Tatum, and they certainly did that. But Gilmer picked it up in excellent fashion.
Well, your thoughts now, and I think 11:44 left in the game. Russ said he didn't think any lead was comfortable until we got 50 points, but the way they could score. But I honestly believe at this point, 19 points, there's no way the Buckeye offense is going to let the defense down and not get the job done. You got to feel like the Buckeyes are going to the semifinals against Snyder next week.
Well, they're certainly on their way, and the way it appears, that's the way it's headed. However, high school football, you just don't ever know, and right now you want that clock to tick as fast as possible and match them touchdown for touchdown. So if they continue to play at this level, looks like your prediction may come true.
Well, of course, the Buckeyes have scored 2-1, and here goes the handoff to Skinner. He's at the 40, 45, and up to the 48-yard line. 1st and 10 Buckeyes once again, and it was Bush, number 4, on the tackle. It looks like almost like the Tatum Eagle defense is just an also-ran, but it's looking bad, not because Tatum's playing bad defense, but just because Gilmer's offense is kicking on every cylinder today.
It's as good as I've ever seen it today.
I think we would all agree. And were you at the Gilmer-Pittsburgh game?
I did not see that one, no.
Well, we'll talk about that one in a minute. That was the turning point of this season. Manuel Johnson to Hollis, laterals out to Skinner, and he's dragged out. There's 15 yards on the end of the play, and Coach Jeff Traylor running down as he does every time he feels like the official might miss something trying to help him out. And I know you never helped the officials out, did you, Coach?
Oh, not at all.
Well, again, we told everyone earlier that this was former Pine Tree, and all of us Buckeye fans from the 70s remember when Coach Cook was at Pine Tree. And as I recall, you used to beat us quite frequently when we played over there.
Well, those things have a way of evening out over the years, and when you get old, your mind's the first thing to go. So a lot of those things I don't remember.
And, of course, Coach Cook went over to Spring Hill, and as we mentioned at halftime, following the mark off the Buckeyes at the Tatum 22, you really did, Coach, pretty much introduce a spread-type offense back in the days of the old West Coast offense to high schools in East Texas. Did you ever dream it would catch on the way it has and the variations like the Buckeyes are running now?
Well, I thought it had a good chance because it was so exciting and people like to see a lot of scoring.
Absolutely. Here goes Manuel. Speaking of scoring, just too long for Jake Holliday, and Manuel knows it. So does Coach Jeff Traylor. That should have been 52-27. But Manuel Johnson, in the way he's played, you cannot fault him. Another injury to that shoulder today, but he threw the long pass to Bowser for a touchdown after it.
Yeah, he's a tough young man. There's no question about that, because he came off with that injury down here, and I thought maybe he was going to be out for the rest of the game, but he came right back. He's tough.
Well, let me, on 2nd and 10 now from the 22, I want to ask you in a minute about this Buckeye offense, because we've talked about it for really about the last 3 years. Manuel Johnson throws a pass again out of the hands of Hollis, which doesn't happen, and it's 3rd and 10. And that is, Coach, Russ and I have talked about this really ever since Coach Traylor came here, but particularly after they won that second district championship and lost 36-23 to the Dangerfield Tigers in 2002. But I haven't really seen anybody that has stopped this Buckeye offense except the Buckeyes, with the exception of the Pittsburgh Pirates, and that's the reason I asked you about that game. But obviously Coach Terry Waldrop over at Pine Tree had seen the Buckeyes enough, knew how to cover them. Here's Manuel on the quarterback draw, 20, and out at the 16-yard line. It'll be 4th down now and about 3. But no matter how good a defense you got, it's just hard to stop this offense.
It really is, and I didn't see the Pittsburgh game, and Coach Waldrop certainly does a great job. I don't want to take anything from him, but from the reports I got, some of the problem was that the Buckeyes stopped themselves.
Well, they did, and again, I said that's really the thing we said. Nobody could really stop them but themselves. But I think that was the turning point for this team. If they had cruised to victory over Pittsburgh, they were getting extremely overconfident, and that brought them down to reality very quickly and probably set the stage for what we've seen these last 4 weeks.
That's the best thing that could have happened to you going into the big playoff situation, and it was an eye-opener, and sometimes you need that to get your feet back on the ground. But I'm going to tell you, they're clicking on all cylinders today.
They are. And Russ and I have talked many times about it is absolutely scary to think about what this offense can do if it was able to perform high octane for 4 full quarters, and to come up against the number 2 rated defense in the state and score 46 points in basically 3 quarters. There has been no lack other than down on the 2-yard line, and then when Manuel was sacked, as we talked about at halftime, and the missed field goal, missed extra point. Other than that, it's been an almost perfect game offensively.
Very, very close to that, as much as you could hope for, and they're not through yet. There's 11 minutes to go in the ball game. Another thing we can say about this offense while we've got a timeout here is you've got to have a really good coaching staff, because you never know when you run this offense what the defense is going to do or how they will adjust. So the coaches have to see what they're giving you and know what to call and take advantage of. And I want to tell you, the staff here at Gilmer is as good as I've seen, and they do a great job.
Well, as you know, the greatest majority of them, Coach Pate, Coach Barr, both Coach Trailers, they've been together for 14 years now, I guess.
Very important, too.
All right, 4th and almost 4. Manuel Johnson has the play, 8 seconds left. The Buckeyes opting not to go for a field goal, and they're down to 3 seconds, 2, 1. Manuel's not going to get it snapped. Delay of game called. And that'll cost him 5. And now, all right, what do you do if you're Coach Jeff Traylor? We've seen the Buckeyes on a 4th and 4 before score a touchdown from the 30-yard line this season. Do you just go for the post?
Well, it's 4th down now, and he's got, about 9 to go.
About 9.
This will boil down to what he thinks about his field goal kicker here, and it looks to me like, though, they're going to go for it. I don't see any kicking people coming on the field.
Yeah, I think they are going to go for it, and I think part of the thing, we noticed it with Manuel Johnson, this is a new turf installed by a Louisiana company. I understand about $225,000, but apparently when you try to make a cut, it's a slick turf.
Right.
All right, here goes Manuel, 4th and 9. Looking, he has a man wide open in the end zone. Caught, touchdown, Willie Darden. Let's try that again. And our score, the Gilmer Buckeyes, 52, and the Tatum Eagles, 27. And we can start talking coach now. Gilmer Snyder next week. Historically, now let's say we can't say for sure because we haven't seen them play.
That's right.
But historically, the West Texas teams don't match up well against East Texas teams.
Well, that's been true in many cases, and they had a close call. They were 21-20, and I think their last win. So they're going to get a test. I'm going to tell you if they line up against either one of these teams, I would think.
All right, Gerardo Cabrera to attempt the point after the snap, the placement, the kick is all good. And our score with 10:56 left in the ball game, the Gilmer Buckeyes 53 and the Tatum Eagles 27. Well, Coach, again, I'm sorry we had to bring you back, but I did not want to miss. It was such a great interview earlier, and I wish we could have rehashed some of the things we talked about, although we have talked about some of them. And the one thing that we did talk about is you said you did not know what kind of defense you could put out to stop this team. I think we would have to say, based on their performance last week and today, if the Buckeyes can continue this momentum, they have to be the odds-on favorite to win the Division II Class 3A state championship.
Well, they're certainly a strong contender at this point, and I think you're very close to knowing exactly the way it's probably going to come out. We've seen today what a team that has a lot of speed to match up, and we haven't really seen a matchup there. So let's don't forget that defense. That
Absolutely.
was a good catch, and that catch, that last touchdown there.
Oh man,
that was quite a catch.
That was. Well, I told Russ, Coach, before we started the game, let's hope we see Tatum fans marching out of the exits at the end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth, and they are marching out in mass. They know this is going to be a Gilmer Buckeye victory, but I almost couldn't help but laugh. You don't ever get the coach out of a coach. You told me when we were talking earlier that games like this, you missed it, but in a way, you enjoyed not having the stress of it. But even as a retired coach, folks, I could not get him into a commitment that the Buckeyes had to be the odds-on favorite to win the state championship. You're never going to get that coach out of you, are you?
Well, probably not, because so many things can go wrong. But I would say right now they would certainly be the favorite, I would think, at this point. It's going to take a very good football team to beat them because of this part right here, this kicking game. All day they kick that ball to the side over there and only giving them a half a field to come back.
Right.
It's obvious that the offense, defense, and kicking game are well coached with a lot of talent. It's hard to beat a team like that.
Well, now they figure with a big enough lead, they'll kick it deep. It's taken at the 10-yard line and across to the 30, and the 20-yard return on the kickoff. That'll bring up a 1st and 10 for Tatum. Well, Coach, before we let you get back to the family for a second time, and I promise you this is on tape and we're not going to bother you again, our most disappointing thing was we missed the entire halftime show, and that Stars drill team performance of the Christmas carols was absolutely, without a doubt, the best halftime performance I've ever seen.
It was spectacular.
The Stars drill team. But at least Stars drill team, repeat that performance next week for us.
That's right.
We know there's going to be a next week now.
That's exactly right. Thank you for having me over.
Coach. Anything else you want to add before we let you get back?
No, I just appreciate visiting with you again. It brings back a lot of good memories, and just thanks for having an old coach over. It's been a pleasure for me.
Thanks a lot, and we appreciate having had you. All right, Stephen Hodge looking downfield, throws the pass that is caught twice, and it's going to be a first down, and there's going to be a flag for, I think, a holding call possibly in the middle of the field unless there was a face mask against the Buckeyes. Personal foul face mask against the Buckeyes is what it was. I thought I saw the face mask grabbed. And again, that was Coach Maurice Cook, ex-retired coach of the Pine Tree Pirates and Spring Hill Panthers, and the father of First Baptist pastor Mike Cook.
Boy, what a class act and what a gentleman he is.
Oh man, I tell you, every time I've had the opportunity to be around him, I've loved it. He is a gentleman extraordinaire. And I'm certain Jeff Traylor is going to be just like him when he gets to that age. I'll probably be long gone by then. Following the personal foul, Hodge gets away and throws a pass way downfield that is going to be almost caught and then almost intercepted at the 7-yard line. Instead falls incomplete, intended for number 15, who we also do not, again, have a number on.
But we know Gilmer's 15 is Willie Darden, who just caught that fabulous 4th down touchdown pass a while ago.
That was a really good statement, wasn't it? Number 15, who we don't have a number on.
Well, Willie Darden's got his number in more ways than one.
Yes. All right, 2nd and 10 from the Buckeye 45, 10:26 left in the ball game. Buckeyes have this one wrapped, 53-27. The only question, Russ, is will Tatum score again at this point? Oh, and that pass is caught, tipped by a Buckeye defender. Oh, and look at the crash Bush takes.
Terrence Lovely, and there was nothing lovely about that in terms of Bush.
It is a first down, and Bush knew he had been bushwhacked when he took that hit. 1st and 10 at the Buckeye 34. And I think now, Russ, you have to say you got to figure Tatum has a little momentum. They got a lot of pride. They're going to do everything they can, obviously, to get this thing in the end zone. Good news is there's not enough time for them to come back from a 26-point deficit, I don't think. Timeout called by the Eagles, and we'd better take it with them.
Gilmer National Bank proudly invites you to stop by their location at 900 North Wood Street in Gilmer today. You'll love the easy access into and out of the bank on Highway 271. Gilmer National features an international ATM machine that accepts all ATM and credit cards. You can also take advantage of their 24-hour telebank service that allows you to make numerous transactions by phone 24 hours a day. And check out their online internet banking site at www.gnbgilmer.com. Stop by today and you'll say, Gilmer National, that's my bank.
Well, Russ, even though the Tatum Eagles are getting beaten worse than the Dallas Madison Trojans did last week by the Buckeyes, Tatum, I think, has played a much better game than Madison has because they found a way to score 27 points on us, the most we've given up all year.
Yeah, Tatum has really been impressive offensively.
Hodge throwing downfield. He's got a man open, and he catches it at the 2-yard line. Number 2, that's T.O. Freeney.
Yeah, this is going to look like a basketball game score.
I guarantee
once it's
you.
over.
Well, who would have thought you would have, as of right now, 80 points scored in this game when you got the number 1 and number 2 defenses in 3A playing. First and goal from the 2, clock winds. Hodge on the quarterback draw, and he's going to be down at the 1, more like the 1-foot line. He stuck the ball over.
His knee was already down.
Yeah, I was going to say his knee was down before, though. You know, I liked it in the old days, Russ, when your whole body had to get in the end zone for a touchdown. And I know a lot of coaches would argue with me on that.
So everything in rule changes has been made to give advantages to offense over the years.
Oh, absolutely. Hodge on the sneak. He's not in yet.
No, and he didn't reach the ball over that time.
No, he didn't.
Or he might have got it. He also might have suffered a fumble, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just wasting. In addition to not scoring yet, they're wasting precious time off the clock they can't afford to lose.
That's true.
About a foot away now.
Well, some of the Tatum fans continuing to walk out, some lining up the fences now that Tatum's about to score again, going to see if they can make it a little more interesting. I wish we were down to about 4 minutes, though, instead of 8:47 and counting left. And Tatum still, well, they're showing Tatum with 3 timeouts, but Tatum took a timeout. Something's wrong on the timeout situation. They took at least 2. That's at least the second one. And they're showing the Buckeyes out of timeouts. I think what happened, they shifted on the scoreboard. They charged one of the Tatum timeouts to Gilmer. Because I know the Buckeyes have taken 2, but Tatum took one a while ago, didn't they?
And Tatum just blew about 20 seconds off the clock for no reason.
Yes, they did. Well, speaking of blowing, we're not going to blow the opportunity to get another commercial in here.
Mike Craig Ford Mercury is a proud sponsor of Gilmer Buckeye football and all athletics at Gilmer ISD. Mike Craig Ford Mercury is your newest truck and car dealer in East Texas. Come by and see our new facility and all the great deals we have on new and used cars and trucks. Our new service and parts department is outfitted with the latest equipment and inventory to take care of all your automotive needs. Remember, at Mike Craig Ford, our name means a great deal. And don't forget to support the Gilmer Buckeyes.
All right, 3rd and goal from inside the 1. Hodge again will probably do the quarterback sneak. No, he doesn't. He hands off to number 22, who goes in standing up, and that's going to be a touchdown for Tatum by Toreen Stoker. And our score now, the Gilmer Buckeyes 53, the Tatum Eagles 33. So it's a 20-point margin with still 8 minutes, 35 seconds left. And, Russ, you're right. Tatum's going to continue to try to make this thing interesting. And I imagine they're going to go for 2 here. They're not even going to pretend to go for 1. Most points the Buckeyes have given up this year by 12 thus far. Oh, most points that Tatum has given up by a long shot. And here's Hollis attempting to knock it away, but the catch is made by Bush and is good. And our score now, the Gilmer Buckeyes 53, the Tatum Eagles 35.
It's hard to see how the 2-point conversion puts them in a whole lot better position than 1 point, though.
Well, that's true. It gets it down to 18, though.
You still need
3 touchdowns.
Scores. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, 3, actually, 2 touchdowns, 2 2-point conversions, and a field goal, so it's going to be 3 scores either way you look at it. Well, you can bet Tatum's going to kick onside again. The problem is with this game, Russ, the way the Buckeyes score so quickly and the long passes and long runs that Tatum's gotten, you could easily have 3 or 4 more touchdowns scored in this last 8:35 of the game.
Yeah, Tatum's going to need everything to break just right for them to even have a chance at the end.
Well, remember, at one point, it was 46-20. So the Buckeyes have been outscored since that point, 15-7. This last touchdown right here being the difference.
It's probably a moot point because Gilmer's probably going to just cram it right down their throats again and make it 60.
Hopefully so. I'd love to have our highest scoring game of the season here in this regional championship. And 62, as we know, was what we had against Paris.
Well, coming into this game, they had only given up about 130 points all year. Tatum had.
Yep. I think they were like, the Buckeyes had given up 120, wasn't it? And Tatum was like 132 maybe. And they've got the seams this time pointed toward the Buckeye side of the field. That's the way they're going to kick it. And the Buckeyes better get there or they're in trouble, and Tatum has it.
Stoker got it, and he's running with it. I don't know if you can do that.
And he's at the 41-yard line. You can't advance it.
Yeah, he had tried to advance an onside kick, and should be marked back there where he first touched it.
You said everything had to go right for Tatum. Well, that did. With 8:31 left in the game, don't go away, folks. 53-35. The Buckeyes led at 1 point, 46-20.
Yeah, there's some of these fans out here, like you say, they're just in limbo now. They're sitting on the grass or up against the fence, thought they were leaving, and they've decided not to.
Well, the ones that left, even if this thing ends up being a pretty wide margin of victory for the Buckeyes, the ones that left are going to wish they'd have stayed. Hodge looking, and he's seeing the protection break down, but with his speed, and that's a fumble, and the Buckeyes have it. Oh, they don't yet. It's still free, and it's going to go out of bounds, and Tatum will keep the ball. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I think some official is trying to say, well, what did they call that, a fumble?
Yeah, that's a fumble.
Okay.
They threw the marker down indicating a fumble. The Buckeyes were trying to pick it up and run with it, and you never want to do that as opposed to just falling on it.
I was afraid one of those officials was going to try to say his arm was in motion forward.
No. Well, that's a loss from the Buckeye 47 back to the Tatum 37. So that's a 16-yard loss, and it'll be 2nd down and 26. But we know Tatum is just like Gilmer. 2nd and 26 to them is like 2nd and 3 for most teams. And there's still 8:17 left. Buckeyes were coming from everywhere. Looked like motion, and the officials see it. And the pass is going to be caught, but it is for a moot point by Sheldon Stoker. A legal procedure will cost Tatum 5 more. And that will set up 2nd down and 31.
What is Hodge slated to play in college? Does anybody know? Because
no.
I don't know if he's quarterback material. I mean, I think Manuel Johnson has proven to be a better quarterback this season just in his one year.
Definitely.
He's more of a natural quarterback than Hodge is, but I'm sure Hodge wants to play quarterback in college.
Well, I would guess probably linebacker or safety or something like that, but I could be wrong. Bush will go wide to the left side. There'll be 3 receivers wide right, and Stoker in the backfield to block for Hodge. Throws a pass way over the intended receiver, Bush's head. 3rd down and 31. But the problem is, Russ, the time is not winding off the clock here. I mean, this is taking 5, 6, 7 seconds per play.
This probably is going to go down when it's over as our longest in terms of time game of the year, because most of the games have been pretty quick this year.
Well, right now we are at, time-wise, 2 hours and 43 minutes.
How are we tape-wise, more importantly?
Well, I've got another tape, and here's the good news. If we hear a pause in the audio, we'll know what happened. And I take full responsibility. I should have thought to ask Troy to check that tape when we heard that sound. I thought we'd had a power loss. Here goes Hodge again, and that is way over the head again of Bush. Where was he looking, Russ?
No, just about the time I said he was not college material, he's trying to prove it.
I think he's proven he's not college material.
That's what I mean. When I said he wasn't college material at quarterback, he's started
I was
proving
fixing to say, let's correct that. Not saying he's not college material, just not at
just
quarterback.
not at quarterback.
I would think maybe linebacker or maybe possibly even running back.
Well, yeah, any kind of skill position besides quarterback.
He'd probably make an awesome cornerback, too. And they're got to go for it, and they're going to. How many teams at 4th and 31 would you see go for it on their own end of the field? But you know they have to. because this is just about over here. And Hodge still running, and he throws the ball, and it's going to be incomplete. Tatum hollering for a flag. You're not going to get a flag on that. No way. That ball wasn't even catchable. Buckeyes take over at the 32, 1st and 10.
Yeah, that ought to just about do it, but we don't want to speak too quick.
Man, I'll tell you, after thinking 46-20 we had it done, we've been outscored 15-7. So Buckeyes want to get that touchdown back, and I'd love to see them get 60. Quite frankly, Russ, because of all the smack talk of that 1/3 of the Tatum people who said they were going to blow us out of here. All I can say is I'm going to log on and say, Gilmer Buckeyes, enough said. Well, this one has been just as exciting as it was going to be billed to be, just not quite as close, thank goodness. Handoff up the middle to Lovely. He's down to the 20 and tripped up at the 19, 1st and 10.
Now we'll see some of the Tatum fans go ahead and leave as they first thought they ought to a few minutes ago.
I think it's about time. If the Buckeyes punch it in here, we can put the call to Santa Fe for Dandy Don. And congratulations to the Lufkin Panthers. They beat Cedar Park 24-7. And were they not big school? I believe they were, weren't they?
I've got that over here somewhere.
So that's state championship coming up next week for them, if they are, and I think they are. And if they can pull that one off, that would be 2 state championships in 3 years for the Lufkin Panthers. Here goes Manuel, quarterback draw, and there's a flag for holding. This is going to come back whatever happens. Well, he was pulled out of bounds, and the official said keep the clock running, which is fine with me, but there is a flag.
No, Lufkin's a small school this year.
Oh, small. Okay, so they got to win two more.
Wait. Yeah, Division II.
Okay.
Yeah, the 4 teams that were left going into this weekend in the Division I were Euless Trinity, Tyler Lee, Spring Westfield, and Converse Judson.
Is the tape still looking okay as far as how much we got left, Troy? Or can you tell? Well, okay. Penalty against the Buckeyes for the holding that we knew was going to come. And it's 1st and 20 from the 29. And 7:05 and counting left in the game. You got to figure that Tay Bowser may get one more shot here at the end zone. But then again, Kevin Hollis, you can't rule out any of these guys, let's face it. He wants Tay, and instead it's complete, to Darden, and he's down to the 24-yard line. That'll bring up 1st and 15 now, or 2nd and 15, as he got 5 of it back. 6:38 and counting, and this is what the Buckeyes needed, Russ, to wind some time off this clock.
It's going to be a celebratory Saturday night in Gilmer.
Yes, sir.
Or somewhere near Gilmer.
And all I can say is, if you live in Gilmer, and I know he won't mind me saying it, this would be a good time to be Herbert Young, because there's going to be a lot of gas sales in Gilmer, Texas next week. Manuel Johnson has a man open. It's complete to Lovely at the 18. He is still on his feet and down to the 8-yard line. First fumble on the play. And did Tatum get it? Yes.
Oh, we're hearing some excitement from our internet broadcast crew from Tatum, as if they may have been, as if they were back in the game, which they're not.
Is that the first Buckeye turnover today? Is it not?
First one I remember.
I can't remember another one. The Buckeyes have picked up a couple from Tatum. Well, you hate to see the Buckeyes not punch it in. 5:57 left. They were well on their way to going over, or at least potentially getting 260. But, Tatum's got to have 3 scores in 5:57. Hodge, quarterback draw, and he's down to the 10.
That's not the way you come back.
Good Lord, no. That's not going to surprise anybody, but your fans.
It eats up the clock, too.
Let it roll.
Hodge is bound to be getting a little bit tired by now.
And the Tatum internet folks over on to my left are saying, why are they in a huddle? And I agree. They don't have time to go in a huddle. 2nd down and about 9. Hodge completes the pass out to number 11. That's up to the 20. I believe they're going to mark it about the 24 to Sheldon Stoker. First and 10.
Bowser knocked him out of bounds. At least he did have the presence of mind to get out of bounds on that play.
Well, I had said originally after we found out McCoy wasn't going to play, I thought the Buckeyes by 10, and I certainly hope Tatum doesn't come back here and score again. But if they did score and get a 2-point conversion, it would then at that point at least be 53-43. But I don't want to be right on this one. I'd like the Buckeyes to hold on to this, what is an almost blowout. Here's the pass by Hodge, tipped and incomplete. Almost caught by an offensive lineman.
I think Dodd got that tip.
Number 50 nearly caught it, and of course, that would have been a flag had he caught it. Unless he would have checked in as an eligible receiver. 2nd and 10, 5:11 left. Buckeyes lead at 53-35. They've been outscored 15-7 since they were up 46-20. And I'll tell you what, Russ, just like the Tatum Eagles can say this, if the Buckeyes go on and hold on here, they can say, just like the Buckeyes said last year, if it hadn't been for Gilmer, we'd have won the state championship, I think. And here goes a huge rush, and that should be intentional grounding. He could not have been out of the pocket there. He couldn't have been. There's the flag. And finally, after the official right back there on it saw a flag, he said, well, if he threw it, I might as well too. He definitely was not out of the tackle box. No doubt about it. Intentional grounding, Tatum, loss of down, 3rd down, and then, of course, the ball will go back to the spot. That is a spot foul, and the official says the spot was the 15.
And a lot of people around Gilmer probably remember my old friend that I worked with at the Mirror named Waisel McNair.
Yeah, I remember
I just
him.
wish Waisel were still alive. He was a big Buckeye fan at every game. In fact, he had a stroke and died at a Buckeye game 10 years ago, nearly 10 years ago. But he was from Snyder. He spent his whole career in Snyder. He's from Gilmer, Upshur County, but he spent most of his newspaper career in Snyder, and would he love to see this matchup coming up next week?
Oh, absolutely. All right, 3rd down and 18. They've got to get to the 34-yard line. They're on the 16. Hodge dropping back to pass. You know he's going to go way downfield, and it went through everybody's hands, and Jeremy Skinner almost had a chance at it. And again, Tatum's got to go for this. They cannot, with 4:55 left, not go for it. Because if they don't go for it, Russ, they're saying, we know the game's over. Fourth down and 18. And our buddy from the internet broadcast for Tatum is suddenly not nearly as excited as he was a while ago.
Yeah, he was really deluded. He thought
It's like he thought they were going to win the
they were
game.
back in the game.
Hodge on 4th and 18, dropping back, throws it way downfield, and this one is almost caught, falls incomplete. No flag. The Buckeyes take over at the 16.
J.T. Tennyson, excellent play.
Yes. That will send more Tatum fans to the exits. They know that was their one last gasp. So basically what that fumble does, Russ, for the Buckeyes, they would have had the ball on the 5. Instead, they have it at the 16. So they lost 11 yards on that fumble. But, of course, in a close game, Tatum would have punted the ball there if they're only down by a touchdown or less. Well, the Tatum fans taking their banners down, realizing they are not going to crack the Buckeyes. And here's Tremaine Finch, and he's down to the 11 gain of 5. 2nd and 5.
You know Tatum would like to keep 60 off the board, but Gilmer's not going to go into any kind of victory, Neil.
Oh, they can't. Too much time left.
Right, 4:30, what am I saying? I thought that said 1 when I first looked at it.
No. And you know, quite honestly, since the Buckeyes had a 46-20 lead, they'd like to get 60 up there. And frankly, I asked some of the Buckeye coaches if they had heard about all the smack that some of the Tatum folks were talking, and they said, oh, yeah. So everybody in Gilmer heard about it, I think. So, I'm sure part of this notching the 60 would be to put an emphatic statement. They can't say, if we had McCoy, and here goes Tremaine Finch again to the 10, and he'll gain a couple more, third down and about 4. But they can't say, Russ, if McCoy had been there and if Hodge had been healthy, they would have won this game if the Buckeyes make it 60-35.
Yeah, that's right.
Arguably, I guess, I don't think realistically they could at an 18-point margin of victory. Arguably, I guess they could claim it, but it wouldn't make it so. But certainly, if the Buckeyes punch 59 or 60 up there, there's no way.
Well, I'm going to say that I was right in one sense. This would be a low-scoring game if it were a basketball game.
Yes, it would be. And the Buckeyes down to 7 seconds. Manuel's got the play, got them set. 5, 4, 3. Handoff again, Finch, and he's got the first down and down to the 5. First and goal.
And Tatum's going to be seeing a lot of hardwood floors next week.
Well, even our Tatum internet broadcaster next door, who got so excited when the Buckeyes turned the ball over at the 5 a while ago, just said with that first down, well, that's going to do it, folks. And obviously all the Tatum fans on the far side realize that too. We have a mass exodus. And at this point in time, we're beginning to get a pretty good exodus by the Buckeye fans as well.
Well, as you say, those are probably people who are on our side but are from other neighboring towns.
Yeah, there are a lot of those. All right, first and goal from just outside the 5. Manuel to Tremaine Finch, and he is going to go down to the 1. Second and goal.
When you get this successful, you got a lot of, and every other team is no longer playing.
Yeah.
You got a lot of people, groupies from other towns.
That's true. That's true. Well, I'm greedy, mainly because of that Smokey.com talk. I want 60.
Smokey deserves, you deserve a rebate check or something from him for promoting his website as much as you have today.
Well, let me tell you what. I may have a little bit of a rebate check. David and I were talking at the Cowboys game during Thanksgiving, and I think I told you I applied for Super Bowl credentials and got told if the Texans made the Super Bowl, I'd be there. And David told me if he got his that he might let me help him produce. So hopefully I'll be there one way or another. And here is a touchdown by Tremaine Finch, and that makes it 59-35. But in talking with the public relations director of the Houston Texans last week, I told him what they told me, and I said, you know, Tony, I said, we're going to have to get busy to make the championship, the Super Bowl game. And he looked at me and said, don't worry. So in the locker room, I just asked him if there were anything he could do for me, and he said, when it gets closer, I promise you I'll make a call to the NFL office, and we'll get you there if you want to go. So I can't say enough about the great job that Tony Wiley and all the Houston Texans staffs do, and they're just a class bunch of folks. There's going to be a penalty, and Tatum jumped first and got back, and then I think the Buckeyes jumped. I'm afraid they're going to call this procedure on the Buckeyes. So that 60th point may be harder to get. And if it is, we may have to score again. Nope, they do call it on Tatum. So Tatum did jump across before the Buckeyes moved, and the Buckeyes just jumped across and made contact. We're not going to go for 2. We're just going to go for the 1. And the holder will be Brendan Thompson, number 34. Here's the snap, the placement, the kick. There's number 60. And our score with 1:44 left in the game, the Gilmer Buckeyes 60, the Tatum Eagles 35. We'll take our final commercial break.
The Gilmer Mirror at 214 Marshall at the intersection of highways 154 and 271 in Gilmer wishes the Gilmer Buckeyes the best of luck. The Gilmer Mirror has been bringing Upshur County citizens hometown news since 1877, making it Upshur County's oldest business institution. Be sure to see next Wednesday's edition of the Mirror for photos and a complete game summary of tonight's Gilmer Buckeye game. That's the Gilmer Mirror, proud to be a part of Gilmer and Upshur County.
Well, Russ, not quite as close a game as I thought it might be. A little scary 2 or 3 times there. But just as they did against Dallas Madison, the Buckeyes jump out to an early lead, 19-7, and they never looked back.
It's an amazing offensive performance.
Jeez.
We heard some of those
Isn't it, though?
statistics that Phillip was reeling off at halftime.
Yeah.
And just think about all that multiplied by 2. It's just going to be amazing when you have Manuel Johnson's total yardage today.
Oh, man. Yeah, it was – the Buckeyes had 416 yards at halftime, but Tatum had 270. So it's going to be by far the most yardage the Buckeyes are going to give up all year. No doubt about that. And it's going to be by far the most points the Tatum Eagles have given up all year. And it's going to be by far the most points the Gilmer Buckeyes have given up all year. Man, oh man, how sweet it is to be a Buckeye fan once again today.
We need to plug Matt and his radio
Yes,
talk at least once per
absolutely.
game. Matt's now got an internet stream himself, www.easystream, that's the letter EZ, stream.com. And, of course, they're always on 91.1 FM, but the internet stream gives you the capability to listen to the Buckeyes anywhere in the world.
Absolutely, and there's the kick. It'll be taken by Spruill at the 7. He goes around the left side of the Buckeye kick coverage, and the Buckeyes get it done, and there is a late shove in the chest that probably could have been called. But I think at this point the official just going to let them play it out with 1:35 left in the game. And our score, the Gilmer Buckeyes 60, the Tatum Eagles 35. And the Buckeyes next will meet Snyder in the Division II Class 3A semifinal game. The second time in history the Buckeyes have advanced to the semifinals. And hopefully we can make it the second time.
I'm sure you know who we played in 81. I don't.
In the semifinals, yes, we played Kermit. And Kermit was picked.
Kermit Frogs?
Yep. I don't remember what they were, but they played like frogs. The Buckeyes jumped out to a 28-0 victory there. And down at the 24-yard line on the pass is Spruill. This is just a formality from here, folks. So if you think I'm not quite as into the broadcast as I was earlier, you're right. I'm already celebrating. Second down and 5. Yeah, it was Kermit. Actually, Wiley was the team that should have beaten the Buckeyes. It was 16-13 Gilmer in that quarterfinal game. And here's the pass complete to number 13. He breaks free and finally stopped at the 42-yard line, 42, where he goes out of bounds. And that is Blake Pierce. But as I was saying, Russ, Wiley was in field goal range that year, could have tied the game at 16, but didn't go for the field goal to tie because the Buckeyes were actually ahead on penetrations and, if I recall, first downs and total yardage, which is the way they used to break ties back then. You didn't have playoffs with overtime then, of course. 1st and 10 for Tatum, and Hodge is going to throw a deep pass that is complete and down to the Buckeye 41-yard line. That is complete to number 3, Lennon Creer. 43 seconds left, 1st and 10, Tatum.
Daniel Dodd made the stop.
They're going to try to get this to 60-42 or 43.
Daniel Dodd's a little bit shaken up. Looks like he's coming out. Hope he's okay.
Goodness, he's limping on an ankle. Well, we know Daniel will be ready next week. I think he's just tired as much as anything else. He does have it look like maybe a little ankle oh, he's got cramps. Here's Hodge. Gets away from a big rush again, throwing way downfield, intended for a number 11. He drops the football.
And boy, Stoker would like to have that one back.
Yeah. 27 seconds left, 2nd and 10. But anyway, Wiley, Russ, didn't go for the field goal that would have tied it. Knowing they were behind, there was less than a minute left. They went for the touchdown, and the Gilmer defense of that day, which was almost a no-name defense in a way, but the defense held on. Gilmer got the upset victory. They cruised the next week, 28-0 over Kermit. And in the state championship game, on the there's Hodge dropped at the line of scrimmage, 3rd and 10, and Tatum takes a timeout. They want to score again with 19 seconds left. I don't know why you prolong the agony. Just let the thing roll. The score doesn't matter, Coach Evans.
Justin Johnson made that stop. Only a freshman.
But the Buckeyes in that state championship game, Roger McKnight, the father of Roderick McKnight, I believe, Roger McKnight rushed the Buckeyes into position. They got a 3-0 lead, and then Cameron Yo put 8 men in the box the rest of the game. The Buckeyes did almost nothing that worked the rest of that game and got beat 26-3 in the state championship.
That's the one I saw. I did see that game.
And that's been a long time coming, or a long time ago. But the one thing Russ, that I got to say this, that I was most disappointed in. We had Buckeye fans jeering Coach Tommy Wagner, who took us to the state championship for the first time ever, and literally throwing ice at quarterback Chuck Wagner. I was very disappointed in Buckeye fans that time. Here's Hodge going way downfield, has a man there, but that one is caught.
No,
incomplete. He was out of bounds and then dropped the ball anyway. I was about to say Willie Darden looked like he had a good shot at intercepting. 12 seconds left, and it's 4th down. 60-35, our score.
Well, there were 64 teams when they started several weeks ago, and now there's only 4.
4 in our division, 2 in Division 1.
Right.
So there's
there
6
were
total.
32 in that division, 64 in ours.
Yep. All right, on 4th down, Hodge, he wants to get a home run, and that's going to be overshot. Out of bounds. Oh, and there's a push in the back, offensive interference. And the Tatum defender wanted interference against the Buckeyes when he shoved the Buckeye defender down. Well, we will have one more play, and that will be the victory kneel, and your Gilmer Buckeyes are going to the state semifinals in Class 3A Division 2 to take on the Snyder Tigers, you said, Russ?
That's what I've read.
Okay. Couldn't remember if it was a tiger or a lion. Regardless, they're going to be playing a team from the jungle again. We played some jungle teams this year, hadn't we, with Dangerfield Tigers?
Well, it's the most, outside of Bulldogs, I believe one of the most common names there is.
Yeah, it is. It is. And there is the victory kneel, and that is taken by Jamel Kennedy. That will be the end of the ball game. Our final score, the Gilmer Buckeyes 60, the Tatum Eagles 35. And if you want to keep just for maybe a minute or so, Troy, through the handshakes and all, and Russ, if you got any other comments, you can close it out from up here, and I'll head downfield to get the post-game interview with what I'm certain is going to be an extremely jubilant Coach Jeff Traylor. Again, our final score, the Gilmer Buckeyes 60 and the Tatum Eagles 35, and we'll have the post-game interview with Coach Traylor in just a couple of minutes. Make sure you stay with us. I believe it was. They give up their most today, but this, just as we said last year, and I think realistically if the Buckeyes go on and win state, the Tatum Eagles can say what the Buckeyes said last year, and that was if Gilmer hadn't been in our way, we would have been the state champs, just like the Buckeyes had to say about Atlanta last year.
I agree. Tatum can say they're second best, and that's not bad.
No, it's not. Well, the Buckeyes able to jump out to 17 to 7 or 19 to 7 lead. Which second week in a row they've jumped out to a big lead. Obviously, that kind of took some momentum early, but I know you had to be, as all the fans were up here like us, you never could get off the edge of your seat today.
Chewed all my fingernails off. I mean, every until it was over, it just wasn't over. It's just every time they got the ball, you thought if we can just make them punt, and we made them punt enough that we were able to win the game. An incredible effort by the offense and really the defense too, and that may sound odd to say the defense played great when they gave up 35, but they did. They played great.
Absolutely. Well, the real interesting thing, I guess, about all of this, we had said forever, if this Buckeye offense can click to its potential, it's scary to think about what they could do. And I don't think anybody thought we would have 95 points scored here today between the number 1 and number 2 defenses in the state. Just a tremendous tribute to both these schools.
Well, the scary thing is we're getting better every week.
Yes.
If we can top this, it'll really be something. But that was absolutely the best I've ever seen the team play. I mean, just everything worked across the board. It was just magnificent.
Well, I know you, like all the rest of us, are very, very excited to be going to the semifinals against the Snyder Tigers. And according to what I heard Coach Traylor, and I don't know if we picked that up when we snooped in on the huddle or not, but it looks like either Texas Stadium or the Gopher Bowl in Grand Prairie. And either way, Buckeye fans, I'm sure, are going to be tickled to death that we didn't end up in someplace like Abilene, which we were afraid we might have.
Yeah, I think we're fortunate that we'll be in the Metroplex area, and I'm sure we'll have as many there as we had here today. It'll be a great game.
Any other comments you have?
No, just like to thank everyone for all the support they've shown the school, and just go Buckeyes.
All right, thanks a lot, Mr. Whitwell. Gilmer school principal, Mr. Gary Whitwell, and we'll have Coach Traylor with us in a couple. And, an exciting day. Oh, thank you. You bet. You bet. So, of course, the Buckeyes again, 60-35 winners over the Tatum Eagles, and we'll talk to Coach Traylor in just a minute when he finishes talking with Superintendent Rick Albritton. Coach, I'm going to be honest with you. You said this was your 5th time here. I'm going to tell you, I've never done this before, but we turned the cameras on in the huddle and went on and got a little bit of that huddle talk because I didn't think you would mind in this big victory. Your 5th time here. You finally get to advance to the semifinals, and I can tell you're just as excited and emotional as the rest of us are.
Yeah, I mean, our staff's been together a long time, and it's just a long time. I mean, a lot of tough losses. I mean, just a lot of tough ones. But I'm glad for our kids, and our community's wonderful, and so many people have been helping us. I mean, you put us on paper, I don't care, 3 Division I athletes or not, we have no business beating that team, pound for pound, height. Just a lot of kids believe in themselves. A lot of kids been preparing for this moment a long time. We're going to see if we can keep it going.
Well, the number 1 defense, the number 2 defense in Class 3A, we were coming down, Russ said, I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I didn't think it would be a low-scoring game, but we would have all said before we kicked off, if somebody said, oh, there'll be 95 points scored, you would have said you're absolutely crazy.
Yeah, we thought so. We really did. We thought we were going to score 45 to win. You know, we don't have the type of team that can line up and run over anybody anymore like we did last year.
Right.
So we knew we were going to throw so much it's going to be a longer game. I believe at halftime we were like, I don't know, it was unbelievable. Our receivers, quarterbacks, I mean, you tell me them kids didn't execute tonight. Unbelievable. Couldn't have been in my 5 years, and we've had some offense. I can't think of a better game in the biggest situation in our careers.
Well, I know at halftime the Buckeyes had 416 yards of offense.
Hey, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all right.
Make sure she doesn't go eat with me.
Okay. Well, I think there's so much noise. She's hollering at Miss Lena Childress, and we'll get her there.
Come eat with us.
And
come eat with us at Barnhill.
Coach Traylor inviting his wife Carrie to come eat, and certainly she's been as big a supporter as you've had throughout all this.
Don't get me crying again. She's unbelievable. She raises 3 kids by herself. You know, every time we win, Dad's gone another week. So she makes it all worthwhile. I'm going to her, happy birthday. There you go. That's what you wanted for your birthday, girl. Happy birthday.
All right, congratulations to the Buckeyes. And Coach, again, 60 points. We talked about what could this team do if it hit on all cylinders. You basically did, and I know everybody in this stadium just shuddered when we saw Manuel after that long touchdown pass to Tay. I assume he did re-injure the shoulder to some degree?
He's a man. I mean, he's something. He's not only one of the greatest players I've ever coached, he's the toughest kid I've ever coached. His intellect, his heart, he's unbelievable. You don't get to coach many of them, and I've got to coach a few. Josh McCown, Luke McCown, Randy McCown, Derek McKenzie, Olin Johnson, Clint Quinn. I mean, I've coached some wonderful quarterbacks, and I'm proud of him.
Well, the Buckeyes give up their biggest point total of the year, but I think we thought that potentially could happen because of the Stephen Hodge situation. But Tatum had only given up, I believe it was like 132 points all year, and you get almost half that many. I mean, Lord.
And we missed
it's
a field goal, missed a couple extra points, and fumbled on the 4. Go figure. I don't know. The Lord's good to me.
Well, a team of destiny. We got to win 2 more games, but we're 2/3 of the way to a state championship. And I said to a number of people, and I think you would have to agree, if the Buckeyes go on and win these next 2 games, we got to take one at a time, but if we go on and win the next 2, the Tatum Eagles, without a doubt, can say what the Gilmer Buckeyes said last year. We said, without Atlanta, we would have been state champs, and if the Buckeyes go on and win it, they definitely, the Tatum Eagles can say without the Buckeyes, we would have been. I mean, just this should be the state championship game, most people think, but they're going to be tough.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing about coming out of East Texas is we leave a lot on the field to get out of here. The teams that have lost in East Texas got injured, and we're pretty beat up. I don't know how much more my kids can go, but every time I doubt them, they just keep going. We'll see what we can do.
All right, final question. I know I heard you saying, but I don't know if we got it in the huddle. Yes, in regard to Snyder next week, we understand definitely. I heard you say it is going to be in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex somewhere.
Yeah, we'll talk to Texas Stadium tonight. We'll try to get in there if we can. Depends on what happens with other games. If not, it'll be in Grand Prairie.
All right, Coach, congratulations on the biggest victory of your career. We look forward to seeing you next week. Gilmer Buckeye head football coach and athletic director Jeff Traylor. Again, our final score here from Homer Bryce Stadium in Nacogdoches on the Stephen F. Austin campus. The Gilmer Buckeyes 60, the Tatum Eagles 35. And get ready to pack up and go to the Metroplex next week, as it'll be the Buckeyes and the Snyder Tigers for Russ Green and Troy Holden. I'm Elwin Henderson, wishing you a great weekend. We'll see you one more week next week in the Metroplex as the Buckeyes head to the Class 3A Division II semifinal championship game. Be there. Join us. We'll see you then.